Hello, 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 and to our Rumble users, hello, guten Tag. Hi, my name is Bruce, and I'm not on camera. I guess maybe I should get on the main camera. Anyway, tonight you are watching a girl, a guy, and a movie with our episode focusing on the wonderful 1970s action adventure Jeremiah Johnson. Janet, how are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. Had a good day for the most part. Has sad day a little bit with the loss of our the zaniest man in the show business, Paul Rubens passed.
Yeah, Paul Rubens.
And I if you want to talk about that at the end of the show, that'd be great. But I that kicked me pretty hard today.
Hi, Eric.
Hello, Eric K.
I'm so happy to see you. I've been worried about you.
Yeah, he's been going through a lot lately.
Yeah,
if you guys have a nice, if anybody here in the Fandom Menace or Fellowship is anybody that has more than 3 weeks in watching these guys, you probably have seen our friend Mr. Eric K before, and he's been going through a rough patch. He got some positivity or some prayers, healing. Throw his name in that vernacular, in that circuit for a while. He really is going through a lot of problems, and he just needs, I'd love to see the guy get back on his feet and be able to do all the travel that he wants to do and get all the things done he needs to, because the guy, he's an amazing mod. He's an amazing mensch for so many people.
He never stops working.
Never. No, he really
works 24/7. But his puppy's so cute. He's got an adorable little puppy now. I'm happy for him.
Mr. Culturally Appropriate 6 Nation 31 Kings. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello.
The Crafting Gamer. Hello, sir. And hello again. Hello there. All right. And for the handful of people that are watching us on Rumble, appreciate you guys being here. Janet is looking.
I can't even pronounce it. What is it? How do you say it?
Nope.
Yoondui.
I don't know.
Yoondui.
Uodui.
I can't do it.
Uodui. Well, I mean, she's got that squaw look about her right now.
Yeah, I'm wearing a little outfit that I thought looked as much like it, and then I braided my hair to have my and then I'm wearing some little turquoise earrings.
Yeah, she's quite the looker tonight. She's got some amazing duds on, has the great hair going on. Janet with the good hair, we always call her. And
thank you.
Yeah, I sneezed.
I'm glad that you like this movie, Bruce, because I can't believe you had never seen it before.
Okay.
I mean, your mom had to have liked Robert Redford a little.
Very much.
Okay, well.
A lot of his stuff we've watched in the house. Growing up, it was one of the most revered actors, and then in 1984 or 1984 and 1986, when The Natural came out, we saw that in the theaters probably 3 times. There was a little theater house in Lincoln, Illinois, that was 13 miles from the house. And so you drive through Hillendale, get over there, and it was a really wide theater. Like, it was a 45-foot wide screen when we first got out there. And then they diced it into 2 pieces, and it became 2 20-foot screens. And it kind of sucked after that because they tried spiking it again. But
yeah,
we watched The Natural on that like 3 times in like a span of 2 weeks. It was that good of a movie. So we do like Robert Redford quite a bit, but I've never seen this movie.
My mother the other one my mother loved was The Great Gatsby. But she's like me. She loves the era of clothing and, all that, the scenery and things like that from an older setting. And she loved Great Gatsby too with Robert Redford. So that was a good one. We'll have to watch it later
It's a
on.
great film. Bois Dohi is beautiful in Cherokee
Orange
and
Hat,
Sloggy.
thank you for
I
stopping
know a
in.
handful of words and phrases. It comes out like baby talk when I butcher it. It's all right. Mr. Orange Hat Reviews. Hello, sir. Janet, this is one of your more favorite films.
Mhm.
What, when did you first see this movie?
I don't remember when exactly it was. It was on, I think it was on TV or something my mom had. So I don't know if it was a VHS tape or something like that, I think. Or it might have been one of them big giant discs. I remember my dad loved those things. So he bought everything he could on those big discs. I don't remember what they were called.
You had
though.
a Laserdisc player?
My
your-
dad
your
had
father.
one. Yeah.
Okay.
He wanted everything. I mean, he had, 8mm projector. I'll have to show you some cool cameras and stuff I brought home. A whole bunch of old cameras, really cool ones. I brought home from when I was working at my dad's a couple weeks ago when I went. So I'll have to show them to you because he was really into all that stuff. But the first time I saw it was with my mother, and she was showing it to her mom. So Sandy, I think it was Sandy and I, and another one of her friends were over there. So we all made popcorn, and don't laugh, but we used to get the big paper bags from the grocery store and pop a bunch of corn and put them in those and then roll the top down a little bit. And then we'd just sit them in here and there between all of us, and we'd all, they had plenty of room for all the hands to go in. So that's what we did. And we used to do that too when my mom would take us to the drive-in. We used to make great big bags of popcorn, take them in there with us. Well, when you have 5 kids,
Hello, the
you gotta
Sober
save money.
Here's
Oh,
a new
hi.
chat. Thank you, the Sober Irishman.
Sober Irishman. Thank you for stopping in. Appreciate it. But
That, my friends,
yeah,
is a
that's
unicorn.
the first time I saw
Take
it.
a screenshot.
But do what?
I was just saying, the Sober Irishman, that's a unicorn. Take a photo, kids. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm sorry. It's just that was a joke when I was growing up. You never see 2 people that are like sober, and that's a longshoreman or an Irishman, and sometimes it's one and the same. But that's just.
I think that's why I picked the name
had.
because it's because of that. He's trying to understand what you mean too. It went way over my head.
A unicorn is no. It's just you never see them in public. You never see them. They're rare. They're just like they're once in a lifetime. Get a photo of it. It'll never happen in your perception ever. Sorry, I'm not trying to yell.
Hi.
Hey.
So what I was saying was my mother loved Robert Redford, but she liked movies like this with the beautiful scenery and the clothing, like I do. I guess maybe that's why I'm into the older style movies, even though if they're made today, like The Great Gatsby, that Dracula movie that we watched. The era, the clothing, the style, the music that they play in it, all that type of stuff is very, I just love it. I just get immersed into it. So, and I loved the scenery in this movie. It was just breathtaking everywhere it looked. It looked like Utah, and it looked like Nevada. I mean, Colorado, Spokane, Washington, because my dad would take us out. Kathy and I, we'd have our own little pack on our back, and we had to carry all our stuff, all our gear and everything ourselves. And man, a couple of times I'd sit down on a stump or whatever and fall backward. I couldn't get back up. My dad would just come pick me up, stand me back up again. But it was wonderful. I mean, catching fresh trout and cooking it with a stick through it. over a fire. I mean, it's really good. I mean, I was so lucky to have such a great dad that would take us out and do stuff like that. But only two of us sisters like doing it. So it was nice. Didn't you get to do that kind of stuff when you were a kid?
We went camping quite a bit. My family tried to be homeless as much as possible. And when I say that, I say that there was a challenge that the fish apparently told my family, and my family got offended. So we went to every hole we could find with water in it and tried to eradicate the fish population. So if there's something that I don't do a whole lot now, it's fish. It's nothing against fish. I love fish. But last time I went fishing by myself, I was just kind of sad because I'm like, man, my uncle just died, and I'm thinking about right now when he took us over to Shelbyville, got us a really nice spot on Lake Shelbyville at Deer Creek, which that later came up into my life. Deer Creek was my my base of operations between Bloomington and Peoria. And that's a different thing than the Deer Creek Reservation or State Park at Effingham or Lake Shelbyville. But that's about 200 miles away. Lots of fun, lots of good times. But when I was in Texas, last time I went fishing, I was by myself, and I'm thinking, man, I kind of wish my dad was here. My dad's still alive. He's still doing pretty healthy. But my uncle just passed. He had brain cancer.
Oh.
Kind of like what one of our old senators had, but it just was kind of one of those situations like, yeah, I'm not going to do this for a while.
Well, the fact that you got to do that stuff, that's what I love, the parts where he's actually having to survive, when he first went up there, not really knowing what to do and how to shoot a gun. The first time he shot a gun, he missed it, and him trying to fish. And you could tell he was really trying to grab fish in a creek with snow, and it had to be freezing cold. Yeah, it was beautiful. And that whole thing with when the Indian came up upon him and saw him, scrounging around in the creek trying to catch fish, and he had a whole string of fish hanging on his horse, on his saddle, and all that was just beautiful. It was so wonderful, just like I said, because my great grandmother was a Choctaw and lived on a reservation, and she told us stories. Well, not really her, because I didn't really get to meet her or anything, but my grandmother told us stories that her mother told about when she was a little girl, and how, like, when she caught the grouse, when he got his new wife, and she threw the rock and was able to hit the grouse in the head. Things like that. I remember my grandma telling me stories like that. So that's why to me, it was more than just a movie. It was like little pieces of my ancestors' past, and I love that about it. For me, it was very personal. For memories of me, but that's why I just love the mountains and stuff. I love taking trips and doing things like that, getting to go do that, like in the Black Hills and stuff.
Now, yeah, but where I'm from, it's mainly flat. Like Shelbyville has some hills around the lake, but that's because it's artificially been augmented that way. I don't think it was really a natural lake. I know Clinton Lake, which was 8 miles from home, that was definitely a man-made lake, and they made that for the Clinton power plant, which is a wonderful source of nuclear energy. But we like I said, we went to every fishing hole and every campsite when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s. So it was very regular for us, but I never got really involved past fishing. I didn't buy my first gun until I was a Texan, because Illinois just is very prohibitive on gun purchases. Crafting Gamer has a question here. He says, "Hey Bruce, would it be selfish of me to pay for another video to watch so soon after the last one?"
No, I don't think so. But we have, like, how many do we already have lined up?
I just want you to know, the Crafting Gamer, right now, let me dox myself and show you what our screen, or what our future is looking like.
Well, Travis, I was reading that what you just posted about you just without the combative engines. We have to remember that back then there was a lot of hostile people that worked with the Indians. I think it was from Canada to get them to get rid of the settlers because they didn't want us to be free away from England. So there was a lot of
they wanted
that politics in there. They were paid for with wines and whiskey and rifles and ammunition to take people out. So it's sad, but politics was even involved back then.
Okay, so here we are right now on Jeremiah Johnson. That's tonight. Next week, you are on holiday, so we are doing a paint and chill on the 14th. I believe Six Nation 31 Kings has us watching Bugsy Malone. On the 12th, or on the 21st, my bad. Dyslexia, yay! A Girl Who Got a Movie is Dangerous Liaisons. And then on the 28th of August, A Bronx Tale. And way in the future, Escanaba in the Moonlight, because why not? It's a snowy movie, and I'm not one.
I've
for
never
really
seen it.
I watched
so
it,
that'd be good.
And I'll have to have you watch it with me because it's actually pretty good. That is a super chat from Mr. Felix.
Yep.
So that's where we're at. If you're cool with waiting till September, hold on, let me pull it up. Yeah. Okay. So September 4th would be the soonest we'd be doing this, the Crafting Gamer. If you're okay with that, go ahead, log it in, and we'll get it all squared away. Yes, sir. Paint and chill on the 7th. Miss Janet is on holiday.
I just want to make sure everybody knows that we would like to do scary stuff in October. I want to do really good scary movies. If we can do that, that'd be good. Because I like scary movies.
Also, one of our chatters, Mr. Chris Mead, an amazing man, says, I met the tech advisor for the survival stuff for the Robert Redford material on the set of Jeremiah Johnson. Very nice man. Really nice guy, he says.
Yeah.
Fucking nerdy yums. I don't realize how
That's
much
what my dad did. Yeah, my dad was the jungle survival instructor in the Air Force, and he trained men in case their planes crashed wherever in the desert or in the mountains or wherever to be able to survive. He even knew how to. He even did some technical stuff for the TV show Sea Hunt, the scuba diving stuff. My dad did some of that stuff in Turkey Point out in Florida. So I don't remember, dude. I was too little. I mean, I don't even know if I was even born yet. I don't remember when it happened, but I remember him telling us. And he had 2 of his tanks autographed by Lloyd Bridges or whatever. So I guess it was cool. But I went snorkeling a few times when we were down there. We'd go down and visit and stuff like that. And the one time I saw a giant grouper head, it was nothing after its head. There was a huge bite. I never went snorkeling there again. So I was scared of barracuda, and because barracuda attack you. So it was scary.
Yeah, they're vicious. We caught a barracuda once, and yeah, that just trail it behind the boat. We'll get it to the shore and deal with it then. Don't bring it in the boat. There's too many fleshy people here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the pre-American colonization from the Anglos right there. It's not tribe versus tribe, it's tribe versus government. Then lots of backstabbing goes along with it. David's like, yay, a sweet paint and shell on the 7th. Yes, sir. Central Idaho,
Yeah,
we had combative
well, I
engine.
wanted to say something about what he just said about all the backstabbing and stuff. Yeah, my great grandmother's family that was living on the reservation in Oklahoma, she was Choctaw. Their family was in their members of their families were in the Trail of Tears. So for years, we used to go every year and go to different sites through that, and then end up where they had them out on the big fields while they were waiting to find out where they were going to take them. So, and there's mounds out. They had their teepees and stuff up. So it's just not a good thing. And it cracks me up how the Indians just, don't whine and complain about all the stuff that other people seem to do in our country. And they live on reservations. I would love to have people that do a TV show and have people go live on a reservation for a show and find out what it's like for these people. But they won't do that.
It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Hungar, hello, sir. I hope you get some sleep. But until then, I hope you have some T-shirt sales and you have a very nice nurse put your face in her boobs.
Yeah, Brewski. That'd be fun.
Nothing wrong with that.
No,
God bless him. He's a hell of a man.
he's nice.
31 Kings. Might ruin it for you if you say dude after every line Keanu says. Yeah. From Dusk Till Dawn for October.
Yeah.
We'll see about that, sir. Hi, Hungar. All right. Well, Waxworks it is. This is what year was Waxworks made there in Crafting Gamer? I need to know. If you could put that in the chat, that would be fine. That would be fine. Great live stream. Yep.
My StreamYard just went down. Sorry.
Really?
Yep. And I don't know what to do, so I can't do anything.
You're still streaming on here. Whenever we get done, download this onto your PC and then upload it that way. Or you could just build a playlist with all of these a girl, a guy in a movies, and just that way you're still able to drive people to your YouTube. They'll be watching it on my server, so that's why I tell you to download it, then upload, and that should be a very fine way. Crafting Gamer also, do you want this to be September or October, sir? October. October it is.
Yeah, he said October, I think, on his post. Yeah, that's another good movie is the Event Horizon. There's so many good movies. Well, we're never going to run out. We're going to have so many movies. We're being a nursing home doing these shows.
I'm pretty okay with this. I don't know about you, but I want to be busy. I don't want to be medicated.
Me too. Yeah, me either. That's why I try to take care of myself, because I don't want to have to live in a home. I want to be able to live in an assisted living place, and with golf courses and stuff, even though I don't play golf. But I could drive people's carts for them or something. I don't know. I figure out something to do. That'd be fun. Play shuffleboard and stuff.
All right. I just added the Hungar, the t-shirt link. So if you guys are interested in who Hungar is, check those out because he has some amazing t-shirts. He needs to upload really more fun. Too. Fellow Triggerfish is in the house. Warlock movies are good. Cheese. Julian Sands. Oh, man. Rest in peace, sir.
What happened?
Plastic Monsters, tongue-in-cheek humor. Do you remember the movie Warlock or Passenger 57?
Hmm.
Okay, Julian Sands
But they
was
did
a
find Julian Sand's body, so he did die
they
when he was
did.
out there hiking.
Yes,
Well, I'm thankful that they found him so that the family can
me
now
too.
not worry about him anymore. That's good. Happy about that.
Roger Delaney. Oh, dude, Chris, you are going to get along so well with our friend Shadow from Shadow and Son. Roger Delaney is it falls out of his mouth when he first introduces himself to you. And then he will, if you know who Roger Delaney is, or if you talk about the Princess and Amber, if you have any passing knowledge, Shadow and Son will want to talk to you about that because he knew the man personally, and he was just a very big fanatic of Mr.
Mhm.
Zeleny, and he has a very, very good accredited bibliography behind his name. I do love Mr. Zeleny for what he did.
Mhm.
Zeleny.
Yeah.
Yes. Others in our chat have read this book. Oh, yikes. Hey, Big Nash, how you doing? 1988 for Waxworks. Okay. Awesome.
Okay. With are we gonna start talking about the movie now?
We are. We're
Okay.
looks like there's
Because when he first got off the boat and the song started playing and the gentleman was singing, I remember noticing his coat, his pea coat that he was wearing, but his pants, I could tell they were like from the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they had the stripe down the side and everything, and I was like, so I wondered if, because I didn't ever read the books or anything like that. I just remember watching the movie because my mom liked Robert Redford and she wanted to watch this movie, and I guess she had seen it at the movie theater and then bought the tape when it came out, so that's when I got to watch it. But I noticed that I asked my mom that, I said, was he the war was over, and she said no, he was probably a what's that word? A person who left just ran away from the war because he didn't want to fight. He abandoned his post or whatever.
Deserter.
And
Yeah.
the character
Deserter.
from the movie. Yeah, deserter. That's it.
Yeah.
And mom said, yeah, I can understand why a lot of people would desert, because it was just more than they could take, or it was, things like that. And my dad goes, they're all the same. So my dad wasn't happy about it, but my mom could put herself in the position where she could understand why some people might do that. And I didn't really understand what it meant or anything, but that's what hit me the other night when we watched it. I was like, I remembered that. I remembered seeing him with those pants on and knowing that he had, left his post or whatever. And just like that one kid or whatever it was, we were talking about him the other night that just abandoned his post,
Mm-hmm.
and then it endangered other people that were trying to find him. So,
Yeah.
it's sad. It's a sad thing to talk about, but they don't really talk about it, but you definitely start to root for him in the movie. So to me, that is a bigger character arc for him, because supposedly he was a coward, what people would think or say about him, because he deserted the military and then ran off to the mountains, and he barely made it. I mean, you saw him, and he was in the freezing cold and he had rags wrapped around his hands, and he was jumping around in a creek trying to catch trout because he had no fishing stuff or whatever. And he earned his stripes basically, living that way. So to me, I think that that was a good character arc for him. Just that part of it, from abandoning what his service, his duty, or whatever for his country, or whichever side he was on, and then trying to live as a man in the mountains because that was the only place he could go. So, but then later on, when those people came, the military people, and they asked him, Jeremiah Johnson, is that you? We were told we could find you up here to help us through the wherever to find those people that were stranded. And they didn't say anything about him. So, I didn't really understand any of that part of it. But I guess it was because the war had been over for a while. So, because I don't know how long for sure he'd been up there. But reading about it afterward, about his wife being pregnant and the other little boy that he had, things like that, that was very interesting to read a little bit more about what was going on. Because that's what I said. I'm glad they left it out, because I don't think my mom would ever let me watch it, if it had some of that other stuff in it. So it was, I remember, not understanding a lot of it. You know what I mean? I don't remember how old I was. And I can't ask my mom because she's not around anymore. So I don't remember how old I was, but I did understand most of what things that were going on, and how hard it was. But my dad had taken me to things, showed me how to make a rabbit snare and just little things, and then he'd take branches and he would hollow out little holes in the tree. And then he would take 2 branches and cut them and put points on them, and then stick the hole into the holes, bend it a little bit and stick it in the holes and make a couple of them. And you could sit on them. So you go to the bathroom out in the woods and you have a little hole in the bottom, and, dig some hole underneath, and you go to the bathroom. And then when you leave, you bury it and no one would know you were there. So he tried to show us how to use branches to cover your tracks. All kinds of things. So he made it really fun, for my sister and I. Kathy and I would go, because the other sisters didn't want to go. But that's why I thought it was so cool to watch him do those things. Do what?
One of my friends from the gaming scene, Patty's Parlor Games, is in the Rumble chat. He says, "I love Jeremiah Johnson. Great film. Anyone could figure out how to survive in the wilderness. And with a woman he doesn't communicate well with. Not that any man truly understands a woman, but they should love the endless endeavor of understanding their favorite one." Boy, no true words have ever been spoken.
And the way they unfolded the whole story on film in such a short time, to have feelings for them as a family, to see them grow together, and him learn bits and pieces of her language and her learning a little bit of English so that they could communicate. But he was good to her, because she didn't want to be in that situation. She had no choice. Her father handed her over like she's a piece of meat. So I thought it was really good. Even as a woman, to see that she had to, was betrothed to someone and she didn't get to choose it, but she was lucky to get a man that treated her with respect. Because it's like the other man that he talked to, the mountain man that liked grizzlies, when he talked about his that he didn't like. And well, the reason she was probably mean to him is because he was an asshole. It's probably, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I completely saw that. I
would think that,
just,
as a woman's
the mountain men, the mountain men that I've always read about, they were never like the life of the party. If they were life of the party, they would have been back in civilization, hanging out, getting drunk, and wearing belt buckles on their hats. But instead, here they are in the middle of Montana, and ain't got no neighbors, don't have no worries except for like the occasional raid which comes in, and it's kind of a different lifestyle than what you could expect in civilized America, which it should.
Yeah, but the thing is, most of the characters in this story, the men that were alone, by themselves, they seem to have had like some type of past. So they were trying to escape something, get away from something. But then you met the woman, the crazy woman whose children were slaughtered by the what was it, the Blackfoot Indians. And then you met the other man. Oh, the Crow. Okay, the Crow. The Blackfoots are where his wife came from then, right? And so, but the Crow came, and then they wouldn't go back because that woman was still there. But when she died, they would come back, but they weren't coming there to hurt them. They were leaving pieces of tribute to the statue for Jeremiah Johnson because he was such a warrior, and maybe they were doing it as a hoping that their gods would be good to them and let them win or
Yeah.
overpower him somehow, something like that. It was very interesting, the whole thing.
I think after the seventh or eighth Dead Crow Warrior, I think they literally were they lost their will to fight. I think that was completely how they managed to last that long. I mean, it didn't seem like they were sending waves of troops at him. They were sending one at a time, and he's kind of able to deal with them pretty well. But after like the eighth or 10th one that they sent, they're like, we're done. We can't sustain this. We're all going to die if we keep trying to kill this man. And then they start giving the tribute. I thought that was spoiler alert. Sorry, kids, but this movie is so fan freaking tastic. I'm going to gush about this film right now. I'm going to talk about how the director. I didn't see a real director of photography on the IMDb, but it looked like the director was really in good contact with Robert Redford, and they were able to bring this movie from just like a fever dream to reality with just a couple months of online filming. They could just do this amazing film with long expanses where there's not a lot of discussion, but there's a story being told if you watch the actions. And I really found that to be the heart of the film. I thought that was the best part about the movie, because it doesn't lead you by the nose. You kind of have to use your head and figure out what is Jeremiah Johnson doing.
Yeah, but remember when I've said this a lot, that when somebody has a script that they write from a story or from a book or from something, a song or whatever it is, and they write the script, and a director, a person that's able to give it to someone, and then a director, a person who has the means to direct it, reads a story and can see the vision of it. They can look out and say, I want to see this movie come to life. And they have the vision in their head about what they want it to look like. But then you have actors that you bring in to play the characters in the movie, and they have the same vision. So when you have that connection and you're able to get buyers, people to put money in because they believe in your vision or what you when you do your trying to remember what it's called, when you're trying to sell your story to the production company, explain to them what the story's all about, what it's going to look like and all that. And if they like it, then they'll say, okay, we're going to look into it. We're going to shelf it while we look for, locations and actors and, production companies and people that are going to put it in the theaters, all that stuff. And if they all agree and work together to see it come to fruition, it's going to be way better than it is when you have someone that says, just get something made. We don't care. We have to fill a slot. You know what I mean? So it's nice to see that, because that means the director and Robert Redford were able to get together and say, okay, we see it, we know it, we understand the story. It's a great story, and we want to tell it as close as we can to what we think it was like for this person. And I liked it. I thought it was really good. I thought they did a great portrayal to show somebody who knew nothing about, living as a mountain man. And because of his past, he's forced to try to survive. And he didn't want to die, but he had a very strong will to live. And over time, he learned, and he was able to be successful at it. And then during his time there, he was liked by a lot of the Indian tribes because he was a good man and was honest. And because of that, he was given a wife as a gift. So at first he was like, no way, but he already had a kid, he had it. And in the situation, by him getting the boy, he wasn't expecting to get the child. and he didn't even know there was a live child, because when he rode up on his horse, she was out trying to put the shoes on one of her children and then bonded on another one that had been scalped, and they were both dead. So, and I cried. I don't know if you heard me, but I was crying because it was really just heartbreaking just to even try to put myself
I'll be right back.
in that position. Oh, okay. I don't know what he's doing, but that whole scene was very traumatic for me, because it was, I could, as a mother, I could feel the pain that she was going through, because it was so, she did such a good as portraying a woman who was slightly crazy because she had lost two of her children, and her husband wasn't there to help her protect them. And I don't even think at that moment she knew the other boy was still alive, hiding in the cabin. He had covered himself up with a blanket or whatever. But when Robert Redford was finished fixing and repairing the door and some of the other damage that the Indians had done, and he found the little boy, and he just called him boy. And then the mother saw that he was leaving, and he said, the boy and you must come with me, and I'll take you down to the ferry to where they can, go to the civilization or whatever. And that's when the mother seemed to wake up and come running down the side of the mountain and grabbed her son and then handed him to him and said, take him. And he was like, what? Because he's a mountain man. He doesn't have a wife. He doesn't have a house or anything. So the fact that she looked at him, and the look that she gave him, it just made me cry my eyes out. It was so sad. But she was like at her wit's end, because she knew she probably wasn't going to live very long, because she didn't think she could live anymore without her children, and she wasn't able to save them. So that whole thing was really, really gut-wrenching for me. But the little boy, he never spoke a word in the whole movie. He did a great job at playing a boy that had went through some horrible trauma. And it was starting to come out of it when Robert Redford's character built the home for them, him and his new wife, this Indian daughter, princess, or whatever you want to call it, the chief's daughter. And he built it for them to try to make a family, have a family. And he left them to go hunt for elk. I think it was elk. And while he was gone, his beard got longer and things like that. So when he came back, the little boy had helped him with the trapping and stuff. So it was like, it was cute. It was good to see them playing like some kind of kickball game where they had sticks in this fur ball, and they were rolling it around and hitting it with sticks, almost like hockey or something. And it was just cute to see them as a family. And you could tell that over time, because they're the only ones out there, they don't have schools, they don't have neighbors, and they're the only ones that interact with each other. So that whole thing was really, really good. It drew you in and made you root for them to be happy, and that they had their own home and everything. And then to see the wife hit him on the back, Robert Redford on the back, because he pushed her out of the way and wouldn't let her get the ball. And he falls to the ground, and he's real still. And then she's worried. And when she reaches down to him, he grabs her, pulls her down on top of him, and he starts laughing. And then the little boy jumps on top, and they're all laughing, because it was just a heartwarming scene, because all the trials and tribulations that all three of them had went through, they were bonding. And it came across on film really, really well. It made you just adore them as a family. And
the first two were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wasn't expecting him to get forced to marry that woman. And then you've got Del Gue, who Six Nation, I think, said this guy reminds you of like that guy who's a complete asshole, but he always has your back. Like, he's not going to fuck you. He's going to do his best to make sure you come out better than what you went in. And Del Gue really seemed to embody that, especially after, he got initially rescued, pulled out of the ground, buried up to his neck in sand. He was going to die there. And Del Gue gives him, pretty much like a translation of what's going on between him and the Flatheads. And Jeremiah's not ready for this. He's just now kind of getting used to life out in the middle of the wilderness. And now you're going to give him a woman who he can't even communicate with. and then I'll take care, have a good marriage. I'll see you next season, and
Mm-hmm.
that's all that happens with that storyline. But then he's got this young boy that he doesn't speak much at all, traumatized, just completely unable
He never
to
spoke,
communicate
Bruce.
ever.
The little boy never
He never
spoke.
did.
He didn't speak one word. He laughed a little bit when giggled when they were playing the game with the ball. So he was starting to blossom out. And when he said,
Right.
"Come on, boy, let's go set the traps," and he set the traps and he let them sprinkle the stinky smell. It was like the urine, the beaver urine or whatever. And that was adorable because it showed you the bonding that he had with this little boy. And he said he's going to name him Caleb, but he never called him Caleb. He called him Boy. So I thought the whole thing was, I know, but I thought the whole thing was just heartwarming. It just made you just love that little boy, even though he didn't even speak. He did such a good job as this boy that had been traumatized so bad by seeing his family slaughtered, basically in front of him. So it was, and the one part where he's with Jeremiah Johnson and the other gentleman, they're going to sneak down and try to get his pony back and his skins or whatever, and he tries to grab him by the around the waist,
mm-hmm.
and he says, "No, stay here with the animals," like that, and you could see the boy didn't want him to leave because he was bonding with him. So I just thought it was really, really good. And I think the director did a great job at getting us, the viewer, to see the direction he was taking us to. Because if you don't love your characters, you don't give a crap if they die or whether they win, you're not invested in the movie. So by them making you love the characters, I mean, you're invested in them. So now when trauma happens, you're rooting for them, So when his when families
Janet?
and he
you cut out for 4 seconds.
I'm sorry. When
it's okay.
the military come, I'm sorry, but do you want to talk about that first, and then we'll finish that part?
Let me give just a break real quick here. We have a $20 super chat from Convicted JHG 76, Mr. John, I believe. Appreciate you being here, sir. He says, give a sticker, says, "You are amazing, sir. Please confer with Janet when you want to be on. Appreciate you. You've helped fund the channel for a month, basically, and you didn't have to do that. I really do appreciate you, sir. Thank you."
Thank you. Yes, appreciate it.
I'd like to give him a handshake one of these days. He seems like a very nice man. Doesn't have to do that. That's not a requirement for this channel. Appreciate you, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
much.
so anyway, you're talking about Caleb coming out of his shell and he's getting used to life, and you get to see this bigger picture that the director has given us a chance to where Jeremiah's going to have.
Even the mother, the Indian girl, was bonding with him because she had made him a new outfit. Remember, he had those tattered old pullovers or whatever that his mother had him in. And then later, when they're playing out there with the stickball game, he's wearing an outfit more of like an Indian attire, like what Del Q was wearing, the leather shirt with the little embroideries and stuff on it, because she would embellish it with some beads or threads or things like that. And the little boy was wearing that, with his other coat over it when it was cold, but he had those clothes on when they were out there playing. So she was bonding with him too. It wasn't just Jeremiah Johnson. It was also her as a mother, as a mother figure for this young boy who lost his family because of Indians. So his whole thing was just really a really horrible tragedy for him. But she was almost in the same position, but she didn't lose anyone. But she was forced to go with a total stranger and be his wife. She didn't know anything about him. And she was lucky that it was a decent man, that he treated her good. But that whole thing is, was building it up for the character arc.
hmm And it seemed like
What?
he really treated her well. He treated her like a queen. He didn't try to force himself on her. There was a little bit, you could see there was some real affection there between the two characters. And in reality, she celebrated her first wedding anniversary on the shoot of this movie.
Hmm.
So that seemed like it was pretty impressive. The
I
the lady
laughed
who
in that.
portrayed Della.
Yeah, I
Good.
laughed on the part where she made the food and she was making that flatbread, and
hmm
he went over and he picked up a piece and he took a bite, and then he went, 'cause it was terrible, horrible food. Then he goes and tells the boy, "Go over there to eat." And then when he sits down, she's trying to give him another, and he says, "No, I'm full." Trying to act macho. And then he sits down by the tree, and he was like, and she started praying because she was a Christian, and he was like, he's talking to her, trying to get her to talk, and he goes, are you religious?" And she's like, and he made her nod her head, and she's not liking him grabbing her and stuff, and she's like, trying to pull away from him. But she said yes, because he was telling her to say yes. So he's like, I'm a real man, macho man, or whatever it was he was saying. And he goes, yes. And she said, yes. So that was a really good scene, because men are proud of themselves. And it's hard for someone to praise them when they can't even speak their language. So I thought that was just a really cute bonding between him and the woman, because he was starting to accept her, that, okay, you got a nice woman here. She's going to feed me and try to take care of me and sew my clothes and, take care of me. And what man doesn't want that? And that's basically gender roles are typical from beginning of time, that the female takes care of the family in the home, and does the small things like pick berries or whatever. And then you saw later when she picked up the rock, when she tried to get him to stop to shoot his weapon, and she showed him how she could throw a rock and hit the grouse in the head and get them something to eat that wasn't wasting a bullet. So they all pitched in, to help build their house and to make it a home where everybody had their jobs they had to do and things like that. And that, to me, I thought was really, really good character arcs for all of them, showing their growth as a family, even though not one of them picked to be there, but they were all there and they made the best of it. I thought that was really, really good.
Yeah, if I mean, this movie is based on the life of a real individual that he actually was
Hmm.
a crow killer. They called him the liver eater.
Hmm.
Um, I found this movie to be very interesting because it was based on a series of true events,
Hmm.
and I don't think it really went too far off course, because the
Hmm.
majority of the events that happened in the movie may not have happened verbatim, but they still mainly happened. The crow eventually did settle after losing numerous times to this wild mountain man.
Hmm.
And it's a typical tale. Like most, I hate to say that, but most mountain men stories I've heard, the guys are typically built like oxen, and they can fight
Hmm.
like crazy. So majority of them are going to be US vets, probably of like maybe some sort of battle or war that we were actually involved with back in the day.
Hmm.
And they're just people you don't mess around with. And there's the Smoke Jensen Mountain Man novels, which, if you guys are familiar with Smoke Jensen, you know exactly where I'm going with that. But those those are wonderful stereotypical mountain man stories where you kind of know how it's going to end by the way it starts, and it feels
Hmm.
like it's a canon film, but it is a very good story. And I recommend, if you actually do Smoke Jensen, don't
Hi,
read the
Shadow and
books,
Sun.
get the audiobook.
Sorry.
Hey, Shadow and Sun, how you doing, sir?
Well, the
Uh,
thing
we
is,
had a
that when, oh, sorry.
no, I was just going to mention the Shadow real quick. We had a fellow friend of his, who he was a very large Roger Zeleny movie, or Zeleny Nine Princes in Amber fanatic. He was just here in a chat maybe 7 minutes ago. Okay, Janet, I'm
Mm-hmm.
done. Good.
So I was just going to say, uh, when they built the family together to get you to care about them because they bonded, and now they're going to start their own family. They built a home for themselves. She was planting a garden, it was a home, and the little boy had learned how to set the traps for the beavers and to catch rabbits and things like that. And he was going to go out and, he'd chop the firewood and, get the big elk and stuff so they could have jerky and whatever else they need to have. So then here comes the soldiers, and they're there because they're trying to save 3 wagon loads of women and children that were trapped in the canyon, and they were snowed in, and they were starving. And so I guess one person left to go get help, to bring help back to them. So they stopped and asked him, Jeremiah Johnson, if he would help them and to get through the woods and to through the right direction, or whatever, the right trails or whatever, to be able to save those people. And they kind of guilted him into it. But when they was going, and they came up to the burial site for was it for the Crow? Do you remember?
Yes. I think it was
And
the Crow.
I think it was the Crow, because they were the meanest ones in this movie, I guess. And he said, "We can't go through here. This is a sacred burial ground." And the guy was like, "Well, if we take another route, how far away will it go?" And he goes, "About 20 miles." And he goes, "Well, we're just gonna go through anyways, without you. And what's our chances?" And he said, "Probably next to nothing, that they wouldn't make it through, find their way without him." So that whole thing, that them going through, and he makes them go through single file, is trying to be as gracious as he could to not defile the graveyard. So hoping that would make a difference to the spirits or whatever, right? And so once he goes, and then on the way back, I was thinking, why are you going back that way? Why don't you go around? Don't go back through it again. So, and he knew that once he was halfway through that graveyard, that something bad was going to happen, because he just had that feeling, a dread, because you could see it on his face. And then he just starts riding his horse like crazy to get back home. And then when he gets there, his son and wife are murdered. They've been scalped and killed by the Indians. So he sits there for days, in that one spot, just staring, like the crazy woman. He's broken. He's a broken man. He's lost everything. I'm gonna get emotional thinking about it. It's so sad. But he lost everything he'd worked so hard for. He finally found out what it was like to actually be a man, to have a family that relied on him, that take care of, and he failed them, So it was just really devastating for the people watching, and for him, for his character. So once his horse comes up to the door and he's pawing the ground and making noise, breathing heavy and stuff, it snaps him out of it, and he sees the horse, and he realizes that he's got to do something. He's got to bury his family. So he wraps him in blankets and lays him in the bed, and he pretty much burns everything that they'd built together. He leaves it. He just takes his horse and his guns, and he leaves. But he follows the trail of the Indians that had slaughtered his family, and then he gets revenge, and he kills all of them except for one. And the one that got away, that was singing his death song, knowing he was about to die, and he just passed out because he had gotten stabbed in the back. So by letting that one live, basically, he went back and told him this is him, and he's the one that did it, and whatever. And he had slaughtered all those Indians. So they started sending, death dealers out to him. That's what I would call them, to kill him. And that's why from that moment on, he was fighting for his life.
It was a war to attrition, is what I felt it was. Because if he would have been not quite as accurate, if he hadn't been not quite as punchy, he would have been just another unmarked grave that somebody else would have made,
or end up like Hatchet Jack.
I don't. Yeah,
because they would have just left him
I
there. They wouldn't have buried him or anything. They have no respect for him.
no, none.
So,
That
right
was
off the
something that kind
bat,
of upset me. Go
do
ahead.
what?
Oh no, what's
No, go
kind of
ahead.
upsetting was that the movie starts off and he recognizes that there's a man that's frozen up ahead, and we don't really
Mhm.
go over that man or even his rifle later. We don't even discuss that much. That it's like 7 lines of dialogue, and after that it's over.
No,
It's
when
it.
he met the bald guy that he saved, that he dug out of the
No,
dirt, he's like, "Oh,
yeah,
you have Hatchet Jack's rifle." So
old
he knew who he
rifle.
was,
Yeah,
and they talked about
there's
him,
seven
and
lines
then
where
he
they
told him
discuss
he
that
had
rifle.
died. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that rifle gets 7 lines in the entire film, and it should have no offense, but I really am after reading about it last night. I'm a big fan
mhm,
of that rifle. That rifle could be really kick ass. That could be a rifle you'd see Charles Bronson with and think nothing of
mhm,
it. It was
mhm,
that good of a rifle.
yeah.
There's a lot of
But the
demand
thing
for
is,
those,
you got to
by the way.
remember in the mountains, let's say that Jeremiah ran into someone and he was wearing that white coat that the grizzly guy wore. He would see that it was someone else was wearing his coat. Because see, there's only a few people that actually interact up there. Okay. So over time, you're going to get to know these people, you know, because you're hunting for elk or you're looking for grizzly or whatever it is, trapping, and you're going to say, "Oh, that's so and so," and you meet them, and you might trade jerky or salt or whatever it is that you have, and you get to know that person. So the fact that he read that paper or that piece of skin that he had written on about who he was, and since you found me, that he said he prayed that an Indian wasn't the one to find and take his gun. That he would be a white man. So I thought it was really good. It was he got his wish. His dying wish was a white man would get his rifle. So basically, that's what happened. So his wish was fulfilled. Okay. And he died, but he killed the bear that killed him, just like you said. So he died an honorable death for a mountain man, and another man got his gun, and it continued on. So the legacy continued on with Jeremiah Johnson, and then he told DQ about him, and DQ was like, "Oh wow," because he knew him because he knew that weapon. So I thought it was really good the way they did that and honored him by talking about his rifle, which meant everything to him. See what I mean?
I do.
Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. I just wish they would have gone into a little more detail about the rifle and showed it off more, because that rifle's badass. It really is. It's
Well, they
mainly,
didn't
from
really
what
have
I
to show
understand.
it off. They just had to talk about it. So any man or woman that's into rifles and in weapons and things like that are going to understand how important that weapon was to them back then. So that to me is an honor in itself for
Mhm.
the movie. How many movies have you been to? Even John Wick doesn't sit and talk about his weapons, like that for 7 minutes or
I
seven
really wish he would.
lines.
I really
Well,
wish he
maybe
would.
maybe the next time they make something like that, they will talk about something more like that. But it didn't really need it for this movie. They gave praise to the man who had the weapon, and the weapon lived on because Jeremiah Johnson found it. So I thought it was really good for me, for his legacy as a mountain man.
I
And,
don't know.
and you kind of thought that maybe that man was that woman's husband that left, because there's so few people in the
Possibly.
mountains,
Yes.
So that's what I was
Movie had
thinking
like
the first
12
time
people
I saw
starring
it.
in it. This movie had like 12 people total in it.
Hmm.
As far as we know,
They
they
didn't
were.
need a lot. Yeah.
No.
That's what I'm saying. It could have been him because we knew that he was gone. We don't know what he looked like. We didn't even know what their names were because the woman did not speak that much because she was traumatized. All you heard was her talking to her two dead children that were out in the yard, and she was putting the shoes on one of them and tried to put a bonnet on the other one, that they're both dead. So she was, she'd lost everything. Her husband was not there, and she lost her children in front of her. So it had to have been horrible. And she snapped, and then she knew she didn't want to live anymore. So she probably just died of starvation, praying by the graves every day. So it's sad. But, Jeremiah Johnson got revenge, and I knew that you would like that. And I told you, I said, you're going to love it because it has everything in it. It has combat, it has romance, it has weapons, it has good fights, and it has a man who gets revenge. That's what I told you in this movie. And he did. And it was deserved because he was trying to help someone else, but because they weren't of the right skin color, the other Indians didn't care. So. And they killed their own too. So there you go. Man kills their own. It doesn't matter if you're a white, brown, or red. And that's the truth.
Yeah, he says they don't really make movies like Jeremiah Johnson any longer. This is the closest thing to it, I might say, which would be Deadwood on HBO.
Mm-hmm. I love Deadwood. It was an excellently made series. But that's what I'm saying. There's still talent out there. For some reason, that the ones that want to make good stuff like Deadwood, they just can't get the funding. For some reason. I mean, I wish I was rich, man. I'd be rich, sure, because I would be investing in some good stuff, good quality entertainment, and take all the bullshit woke shit out of it and just let stories be told. You could actually make a living. These people could actually make money making movies people want to see or TV shows. It's just sad to me. I see all this great stuff in the past and wonder what happened. What happened to Hollywood? Even Robert Redford, he was a liberal, but he made great movies, because he cared about entertainment. Just like, what's the other guy from Waterworld? What's his name?
Costner.
I can't remember. Yeah.
Kevin Costner.
He did the same thing. So, but like the movie I got you to watch, Mr. Damn it, and I can't remember the name of it. Oh, the one he was a serial killer with Demi Moore.
Mr. Brooks.
Mr. Brooks.
Mr. Brooks.
Mr. Brooks. And that was a really good movie. Okay. And it had action. It just had so much stuff in it. And he was a liberal and he was in that movie too. And he wanted to see this movie come to life. It was important, to see it come to life on screen. So just because you're a liberal doesn't mean you don't want to make good content. So I don't understand what happened to just take every single movie house that just wants to just go belly up, make shit. It just doesn't does not make any sense to me at all.
It's the World Economic Forum.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that ESG money, Janet. I don't know if you understand that or not.
I don't. Apparently I don't.
Very well.
Because how can you go so long, year after year after year, losing more and more money and having to prop everything up with fake money? Sooner or later, the people that invest will have to say, hey, we're tired of losing money. We want some money. We want to make real money. I got to buy a new house, or I got another wife. Another ex-wife I got to give money to. I need some more money. So let's make something that makes money. I just can't believe a movie like the Barbie movie made $100 million, just $100 billion or whatever it was that it made. It's like, I don't know a single man that would go see that unless they're cucked, period. We got a world full of cucks. That's what we got. And I want a Jeremiah Johnson. You see what I mean? That's the difference. I want a real man, a man that's not afraid to be a man. It's just pathetic. I just don't. I mean, to me, our character arc went limp. You know what I mean? It's terrible. I do not understand it. And I've worked in it, and I still don't get it. Because most people I work with, you're sitting around talking and holding. We're not talking about how cucked everybody is. We're talking about how high our taxes are, how we want to keep more money, how we wish the government was smaller and they'd stay out of our business. That doesn't sound like liberals to me. So where are they coming from? It's all the upper people that don't really do anything. They're just executives. They don't understand how shitty their shitty movie is because they don't watch it, or I don't know. There's a huge disconnect and doesn't make any sense. Because you could have good movies like this one actually being made. Because I'm telling you right now, there are tons and tons of screenwriters out there. There's hundreds of websites you can go to for screenwriters, and there's tons of good stories out there, tons of them. But they don't want to make those. They don't want to make a new person famous in Hollywood. They don't want to give up their space. So they'll either buy it from them outright and not give them credit for it. And they stay measly, they're making little, hand to mouth payments. And the other people make buku dollars off of a really good story because they sold it outright. And then you have a few that won't sell, and that story will probably never get told.
Well, right now, you and I don't really understand it, but the world is in flux, and there's a lot of elites that are out there. They're trying to make all the unfun things fun, and they're trying to take what fun things we have and say those aren't really fun. That's not the way that you remember it. You think you like Godzilla movies, but really Godzilla movies from now on are going to be about climate change. Even though this idiot woke person says that, they don't recognize Planet X in 1956 had mentioned climate change quite a bit in the first act. It really did. It talks about the changes to the earth that had happened after the Second World War. And it talks about man's ever increasing use of technology. We're just seeing it now. The WEF, BlackRock have been around for decades, and they've been under other guises, other umbrellas, but now they're out and about and they feel brave enough to show themselves, which is cute. It really is. Look at them through a scope. Did I say that aloud? Oh yes, I did. We don't mince our words here. Other people will say, we don't endorse violence. I endorse the shit out of it. I want a world without communists. I don't want to have to deal with them. I fucking hate.
I wish every person in the United States in high school were taught how to use a gun. The proper way to hold a gun, the proper way to load a gun, all that.
Fuck. Hold on, Janet. I'm going to pull up some Google show. Stuff here.
Someone's triggered.
Oh yeah.
Someone's triggered. It's okay. Show me. What are you going to show me?
Gun safety. All right. Give me this.
You're going to show that army guy
and
that you sent me?
No. Janet, it's too deadly for you to be around army kids because you would literally be, just like encouraging kids to, hey, go back to the creek and learn how to shoot. Now let's go through some of these here.
Hey, I grew up in a house. My dad had 5, 6, 7 guns out all the time, but we were showed what a gun was. He set them on the table. He let us hold them. He let us look at them, and he told us they were weapons. These were to hurt people or animals, and they weren't toys.
We were,
and that if you wanted to shoot it, he would take us out and he would teach us to shoot it. But we never. I mean, I went to a school when my dad got out of the military. We moved to the country, and I went to a school, and all the people had pickup trucks in high school, and they had guns in the windows, rifles. They had knives on their belts at school, and not one person got stabbed. No one got shot. A couple of times we said, hey, let's go down to Delbert Wax's store. There's a fight. And they'll go down there, and these 2 guys are duking it out with their fists. Okay, they didn't knife each other. They didn't shoot anybody, and there wasn't a gang of people jumping on top and beating the crap out of one person. It was 2 people duking it out, and one side saying they want this guy to win, the other side saying this guy. But it was fair. It was a fair fight. I just don't know what happened. Too many coddled kids are being told, yeah, hold the guy down. Let's beat the shit out of him. I mean, that is just pathetic. That's liberalism right there. That's what I'd say. My mom and dad used
This
to
is
do it to us.
Yeah, 1956. Okay, it's not too long before I was born. 19 years before I came out of the womb, you have a kid in a classroom being taught gun safety, right there with all the other kids. Here's a better picture of it. This is what we need to go back to. That and beating the shit out of communists for fun and sport and trying to get a high score. Because there's no
Well, the
there's no
thing
joy
is,
that comes.
you're not going to have accidental shootings if people know how to handle a weapon. And a gun isn't to play with. You don't sit there and make music holding the gun with your finger on the trigger and do this stupid shit. I mean, it's just stupid.
There's a saying in my industry that's echoed in other industries too. Always use the right tool for the job. Well, a gun is a very valuable tool. Some people should not be using these tools. These kids here are doing really good because they're practicing proper firearm safety. But the IRS last year had more cases of negligent discharge than proper firearm discharge. Okay? I just want you to understand that. They had a gun go off in their possession inadvertently on mistake rather than on purpose throughout the whole year. Do you understand what level of fuck up that is? And these are the people that want Biden to, have another 4 years, which is why I say putting communists in the ground is a good thing because they're not good for America. They are good for your soil. There's lots of soy. They'll be good for your plants. This is a gun safety images, and Utah bill would require middle schools to teach gun safety, which I kind of get behind that fairly well. But I want us to go back to things like this because I think teaching kids the right way would be one hell of a good wake-up call for us to have. I didn't mean to snap. I'm sorry.
I would like to find out. I'm really interested in somehow researching how many shootings have taken place in a place where people were allowed to carry open arms, concealed carry, that kind of stuff, compared to how many were told this is a gun-free zone. I'd like to find out the difference.
Let me just tell you right now, no NRA, no Gun Owners of America member, neither of those memberships were involved with any mass shootings. And I'm going to be ballsy and saying the last 10 years. Maybe that record stretches further. Also, the James Gang, Dungeon Master James says, I don't want to sound cynical, but I'm starting to think our blood-drinking, Moloch-worshipping politicians don't have my best interests in mind. Yes, you're right.
Don't.
You are absolutely right.
They also do not.
It's like going to the CDC for health advice. Don't go to the CDC for health advice. They're putting out the wrong information.
Yep.
Oh wow, we got a lot of stuff. Appreciate everybody being here tonight, both on YouTube and on Rumble. Rumble people, I appreciate you. Good to see you tonight, Patty's Parlor.
Yeah,
thank you. Anybody who's seen this movie, go ahead. We're about an hour and 20 minutes into this chat. I want to know what your guys' scores are because we're going to talk about these. Because in any part of this film that you feel that we need to rehash, discuss, interpret, I think if you want to do that, please, this movie is great. Uh-oh. Anybody seen the movie Smile? I'll have to look at that. We watched this movie last night. Flady wasn't there. And Dungeon Master James in my Discord on Sunday nights after 7 Central Standard, 6 o'clock, I think your time, or might be, it's 8 o'clock your time, my bad. We have a movie. We have dinner and a movie. So come on by. I owned a gun at 8 years old. I've never shot myself or anything I didn't intend to because I was taught properly. My parents got really upset because I was good with aiming, and they hate the fact that they were depopulated on rabbits. They didn't have to worry about rabbits with me in the house. I hate rabbits. I like a garden. I'm
I
Italian.
remember when I lived in Idaho, they were having a horrible time with jackrabbits because the jackrabbits were coming out and eating all of the vegetation and gardens and people's landscaped yards and everything. So they were doing
Mhm.
these big things where they set up these big corner nets, like in a big, corner shape, and then they were rushing them all in there. And then when they would have bats, and they were just beating them with bats to kill them. There was thousands and thousands of them. You'd be driving over the road and they'd be jumping over the road. You could hear them crunching under your tires. I mean, it was as far as you could see rabbits. It was so bad. It was like instead of cockroaches or grasshoppers, it was rabbits, huge ones with the big, big feet because they were jackrabbits. And they had T-shirts that were given away at this thing with Idaho Club Sandwich. And they had 2 pieces of bread with a jackrabbit with its eyes X'd out on it. And I would do anything now if I could get one of them. I don't know where PETA was because I don't remember them ever coming out and doing anything, but the people were having to go out and get all these rabbits because it was eating everything. They were just, it was like I don't know what you call it, infestation of all these rabbits. So, and I don't remember what year it was. It probably happens every so often because, you don't have enough wolves. You don't have any other predators that are just taking out all the rabbits. So they just breed like rabbits. So you got so many rabbits, you can't get rid of them all. So, that would be smart. I mean, rabbit's pretty good. I like rabbit. You just eat them.
I discovered I don't like the taste of rabbit, but I enjoy shooting them, and I got really good
I
at
like
getting
the
through
taste
the
of
eyeball.
rabbit.
Too gamey.
Roast
For me.
rabbit's really
It only
good.
holds up for me. It holds up in a pot roast, but that's about it. This is a Autumn's Armory YouTube,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna
Yeah.
just copy this and throw it in chat. But this young girl, youth focused shooting. This is how to properly parent. Okay, they do a dad and daughter competition with MCKs. Can my arsenal defeat a welder? Looks like a young kid, like maybe 8, 9 years old, and she
hmm
just goes through the basics of gun safety and shows you how to shoot. I believe she doesn't. This girl do 3-gun as well? I think she does 3-gun. I know there's a bunch of kids now that are doing 3-gun thanks to the John Wick movies and Keanu Reeves showing off his 3-gun skills. But
hmm
this makes me so happy. I hope she's on YouTube Kids. That'll help offset all the drag shows that are for
I bet
YouTube
she
Kids.
isn't. I bet they've got that. I can't even believe that she's even on YouTube. I can't believe they're letting her actually
I
be
think
on
it's
there.
great. This
I think
makes
it's
me
great
happy
too,
on
but
a level.
it's shocking. I mean, you can't even call a pedophile. You have to call them a minor attracted persons, or you get flagged for
No, they're
that. So
pedophiles. Wood
I
chipper
know,
foods.
I know they are, and you do. Everyone knows they are, but YouTube doesn't want you to call them that. There must be some people working for YouTube that are pedophiles. That's the only thing I could think of.
I mean, the
But
entire
hope
agenda
your
right
channel
now
doesn't get
is
taken down.
and we're going to be safe on Rumble. The
Mhm.
entire agenda seems to be, make let's make this movie. What is that? The Sound of Freedom. We have to make that movie
Mhm.
just out to be the ultimate bad guy. If you watch that, you're Hitler.
Yeah.
And people are watching it, enjoying shit of it. They're putting up videos of my reaction to watching The Sound of Freedom, and it's
Mhm.
wonderful. Everybody went to go see it. This movie, you have Disney out there spending $400 million on Indiana Jones 5, and here's this $14 million movie that Disney tried to squash because it, deals with something that they love, which is child sex slavery. And
Mhm.
so this little company bought it. And Angel, God bless the little Angel company, they brought it out and brought it to light. And you see the scurrying cockroaches. You see the cockroaches scurrying off, trying to talk shit on every television program. Oh, this movie isn't indicative of anything. This guy, he's been in court more often than anything else. Tim Ballard's bad. he's MAGA, and that's all it is. It's an agenda, and these people
Yeah.
are very much okay with kids being sold into sex slavery. They're very much okay with
Well,
missing
see,
children getting thrown in
you have to
ditches.
remember,
That's
these are the same people that are willing to pay
yeah.
$900 for a pair of Nikes that are made by little kids in a sweatshop. Okay. So
Yeah.
it's not that big of a leap. These people don't care. Okay. Cause it isn't them. It isn't their kids. So they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit if a kid's being raped 12 times a day. It's no skin off their teeth. They got their nice Nikes on. That's the disgusting fact about it. Okay. You can sell a bag of Coke and heroin once, but you can sell a kid over and over again. That's all the cartel cares about.
That's
So,
disgusting.
sorry that we shouldn't be talking about this because we're supposed to be talking about a great movie.
Oh no, it's absolutely fine. One, I'm pretty much
I get
unafraid.
fired up
Oh
when it
no,
comes
I
to
might
this
lose
shit.
my YouTube.
Well,
My
you
YouTube
know
will
I
go
am
away
about
tomorrow, and I
kids
might
and
lose sleep on it.
this stuff. It's really bad. But yeah, it's
Janet,
disgusting.
you're a good mama bear.
I can't help it, but I don't see how come other people don't see it that way. That's what I don't understand. I mean, even children that are abused that grow up don't want their children to be abused. I think there's very few people that abuse other kids because they were abused. I think there's a few that do that, but I think most of them are just sick already. They're already sick before they even like Jeffrey Dahmer, all his documentaries that I watched about him and interviews with him, he said that he can't remember not wanting to kill. As soon as he was old enough to know what it meant, he was wanting to do it. So there was definitely some psychosis going on with him. But I don't know. Instead of fixing the psychosis and taking the people that are messed up like that and doing something for them, like with all this, people that are being told, a kid can get their balls cut off or their breasts cut off when they're 12 and 13 and 14 years old, but they can't buy cigarettes. I mean, how fucked up is that? Sorry for me saying that dirty word, but just stings me. I just can't understand where these people come from. And I don't believe these people should be allowed to walk the streets. I mean, they should have to be put in their own little 15-minute city and live there with each other. We should just build a thing and put a big wall around it and just put those people in there and let them grow their own food, let them take care of themselves and keep away, have them all sterilized so none of them can have kids to abuse in there, and just throw them in there, throw them over the wall and leave them in there. Let them fend for, fight for their lives or whatever, escape from LA, but for real, and put them in there. I think it's a great idea. That's what I believe. We could save a fortune. And if the families say they got their dad or their brother or uncles in there, they can throw food over the wall to them, feed them, take care of them or whatever if they want to. I don't have a problem with it. As long as I stay in there away from our kids and our families, that's how I see it. But I'm not nice. Oh, I just get really fired up over this stuff. I just don't understand how we have criminals that just get away with it over and over and over again. It's just disgusting. And you pay for it. Your hard-earned taxes is paying for that guy to go in and out like a revolving door or to get a sex change while they're in there. And the thing is, I think if we're going to pay for their sex change, they have to get their whole thing. They can't just get boobs put on. They got to have everything whacked off and made into a woman, whatever. And they have to do whatever that lifestyle, causes them because they're mostly miserable anyways. Well, I know, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Well, I've seen some of them. I've seen some that have had some good surgeries. And I'm telling you, if I was standing next to them in a club, all the men would be going to that one because they look good. And you would have to do DNA tests to find out they weren't a woman. Until they, maybe if they didn't change their voice or something. I don't know. I mean, I sound listen to my voice. It sounds deep. I mean, I got a deep voice. So I can, someone could say that she's not a woman, whatever they want. but my DNA approve I'm a woman because I've had it done. So, and I've had a baby of my own, so I know I'm a woman. But it's sad. I feel sorry for young men today. I mean, it's pretty much really easy to spot a woman who became a man because they take the skin off of your arm or your leg to make the other piece to attach, and it's hairy. So if you see a hairy one, you know that it ain't a natural one. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be easy for the woman to spot that that guy's not a real man. If they didn't tell you from, they should tell you anyways. I think they should have to tell. But if I'm going to pay for it, they've got to have it all taken off. I don't want some guy with boobs that's really a guy with women's breasts going into my bathroom. I still think that's appropriate. He's got to have no Peter.
I agree. I agree.
So that's how I feel about it. Yes, I'm a real woman. Travis said, I'm a woman, and I am. And I'm proud to be a woman. I want a real man too. I like men that are virile and want to go out and kill stuff. Clean a fish and let's cook it over a fire, and I'll cook it for you, and I'll wash your dishes for you if you go out and get me the squirrel or the rabbit, just like that movie. I think it's great. I wish more people could experience that in their real life. I mean, I'm a huge prepper, so my new chickens that I've raised are finally laying their own eggs. I've got 3 eggs today again. So my girls are starting to lay eggs, and I'm proud of it. And I did that myself. I raised the chicks myself and taught them how to, take care of themselves the best of my ability. But I'm getting better and better at it. So one day, I'll be able to raise my own chickens and have other chickens that lay eggs and hatch the babies out for me. And that's what I'm working on right now, to have my bantams, because they go broody very, frequently, and have them hatch out the big eggs for me so I can keep my big flock big, and that way if a few predators come in, a hawk or a fox or some neighbor's cat or a raccoon or whatever, I could still keep up with the numbers. If you lose one every so often, because you can't be everywhere all the time. And you can't stop all the animals, come snakes or whatever. I've killed 3 snakes this year already that were trying to, kill my chickens. So.
Everybody here, by the way, I'm just going to declare this. Everybody in this chat right now has had a traumatic boating experience, and we were armed, but all of those guns are gone. They're at the bottom of a lake somewhere, and it is so sad. So sorry there, ATF, but no, we've had a traumatic boating accident. No guns. lots of stuff was lost.
All you have to do is just say that they were stolen. You had it in your car, and
exactly
somebody took it. Someone took it out of my car, and I called the cops, but the cops didn't come.
Bello is a legal alien in my home state, and where he's from, they are allowed to carry for sports purposes special licenses, but there's no such thing as a First or Second Amendment where he's from. So don't get any ideas. And Bello, if you get the chance, tell the other parent of the child we need to try Texas or Tennessee. Tennessee's nice, and you have all 4 seasons there. You have fun, treacherous roads. It's like driving in Germany.
Oklahoma's not so bad. Arkansas is pretty good.
Oklahoma's great.
I have a concealed carry.
Arkansas is amazing.
So, and we have Sarah Huckabee as our governor. So I'm really proud of her. She's done a really good job so far. I think she's going to keep doing it.
Bello Triggerfish liked this movie quite a bit. Said that this was a very fast, almost like a 90-minute film. I got to agree with that. That it felt like a 90-minute movie. And most of Europe has serious gun laws. It's a shame. Yeah, people that are bad, these pedophiles, pederasts, should be thrown into a cell with Big Bubba. Sorry to voice the words, not letting me say certain things.
But see, the thing is, when you have what happens right now is that our states are so cucked when it comes to our prisons. Like that one gentleman in Colorado that killed both his little kids, his little daughters, and his pregnant wife because he wanted another woman and he didn't want to have to pay for the family anymore. So he strangled his wife, pregnant wife, to death. He put her in the truck, and then he went and got his two girls. I think it was like 4 or 5 and 3 or something like that. They were little. And then he took them out to an oil thing where they had these big tanks, you know, with the thing on the top that you open. It's like a 10-inch hole or whatever. And he suffocated both of them. And then he dropped them and stomped on their head to put them down in those 2 different little wells, right? So he gets convicted. They find her body and all this stuff. And he goes to prison, but they put him in solitary confinement in a prison for child murderers because they don't want to even put him in a regular prison because they know what's going to happen to them. Even the hardest criminals that have killed in gangs and all that stuff, they'll take out predators, you know, ones that kill children. So, you know, maybe we should just vote and change the laws on people in prison, you know, to save money. Put them in this regular cells next to the rest of them and see what happens. Let them, like I said, just let them fight it out in jail. Let them take care of themselves. I don't think anybody, any normal person, guard or whatever, should be in there to have to take care of any of them, any of those child molesters. You know, if a guy's in there because he was smoking pot or he sold a couple joints or some stupid shit like that, or he bought a prostitute.
Are you saying somebody that like Kamala Harris put in prison?
What if Kamala Harris like that? When we have serial killers and we have child molesters and we have rapists and we have murderers that just murder for fun, getting a slap on the wrist, and then you got a guy that's selling a couple of bags of weed or some snort or whatever they call it, to another person that's old enough to purchase it and a dumbass. I mean, if they want to sell drugs, I don't have a problem with that either. It's the people that drive when they're under the influence. Those people should be punished because you're risking other people. But if you want to sit at home and snort your brains out, I don't give a shit. You know, it's the United States. Let him snort his brains out if he wants to. If he can't keep his job, then he'll lose his job, he'll lose his house or whatever else. That's his own choice. And if a woman wants to sell her body for money and a guy wants to pay her, what's wrong with that? You know, it's quit wasting all of our time on stupid shit like that and take care of the kids and the real criminals. Hunt them down. Use the money for that shit. Stop worrying about dumb shit like that. Now, speeding, I still think that's dangerous. People, reckless drivers and stuff like that. Yeah, we still need to have, safe roads because there are people that are going to drive slower, the older people that are drive slow, or you have a young kid at 16 who's just learned how to drive. He's not going to be as efficient on the road. So other people that aren't drunk can watch out for those dum-dums that are learning how to drive.
In an accident earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
I was involved in an accident earlier today. Yeah, I was. I didn't get hit. My truck didn't get hit, but I'm going through the country driving my big sludge-o-matic, and this truck is about 70,000 pounds of truck going over these crowned asphalt roads.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this guy comes up and over this hill, and he sees my truck, and he's in my lane, so he overcorrects and he goes off the road into a fence post. So I stop the truck, I get out, and he's bleeding. I'm like, dude, are you okay? And he's out of it. So I check for signal and I call 911. And like within 10 minutes, cops are there. And then the ambulance gets there and he's going to be fine. But I show him the tire marks and what happened and where I stopped, and the cop measured everything. And he's like, you were going uphill. You weren't going very fast at all. I said, hell no, I'm not. I'm 70,000 pounds of shit and heavy chassis. And he's like, well, that guy really sucks at driving. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry about him. You know, I mean, I hope he gets better, but he really screwed himself on this. He's like, yeah, well, I will see you out here in this area. He shook my hand and I was on my way. my boss got photographs from the county deputy, and he's like, wow, you almost got in a wreck today. I said, yeah. And I'm like, I was driving like 40, 35 mile per hour up a hill with 4,000 pounds of poop on me. What do you expect is going to happen? You know, I can't move very fast. I'm just kind of this big brick in the middle of the road, and people have to go around me. Well,
Yeah.
he went around me into the fence post. So
Because he
when I
was
got
going too
home, I had
fast?
a couple of drinks. Yeah, he was going way
Was it
too
because he
fast.
was too
He was
fast?
going. Yeah, he was going about 75 mile per hour in a 60, and that's not
Mhm.
the way to be at all.
Mhm.
So he lost control of his vehicle. It was a single vehicle accident. It's not going to affect my rating at all. I am so happy. I pray every day that nothing happens to me on the road, but these people don't understand that, and they're like, "Oh, these truck drivers, they can handle a warning. A warning is just as bad as getting a ticket because our points go down. And at a certain point, when you have so many points, you can't get the right insurance. I don't know
Yeah.
what needs to be said other than that. You know, I mean, I was trying to be safe, and I was minding my business. I didn't know this guy existed till he came up and over the hill, and then he careens
Mhm.
off the road. I'm like, oh shit, here we go.
Well,
So
one thing
I offered
we could
aid.
do in states, one thing I've noticed, and
Yeah.
I've been trying to pay a little bit more attention to this, is that you'll be driving down the road and you pass someone because they're going really slow, right? And you have to wait until it's safe to pass. And you pass and you happen to glance at the car, and there's a person, and their head is barely over the steering wheel. And it may not be an old person, but there's got to be some kind of rules to where the vehicle the person is driving has to be able to be controlled by that person. You know what I mean?
So
Does
this
that make
person was
sense?
22 years old. Yes, this person was 22, and he did not know how to drive. He had only been driving for
Mm-mm.
3 months. And he wasn't
Well,
driving like
um,
some van. He was driving I don't want to say high performance vehicle, but it's classified as a sports car. It was a Subaru, but he
mhm.
overcorrected, which is easy to do. He had all wheel drive, and he just went right off the road. Anyway, we probably need to talk about this movie. Um, Guys in the chat, what is your rating? I want to know. Janet, I'm going to, while they're putting that in the chat,
And now, how are you going to do the rating? Because I always do it different than you. So I want you to tell me how you want to do
I
it this time.
use a percentage score. If you want to use stars, or if you want to use a grade average, it does not matter. I just need a way for
Well, I
you to
just
grade the
always say,
movie.
out of 10, 1 through 10, what would you rate this movie? That's how I've always done it.
Okay,
So
fair enough.
I definitely would give this movie a solid 8, maybe 8.5 for sure.
Okay, I could see that. What's the strongest point about the movie for you?
But there's two things that I really enjoyed about the movie was the character arcs of the three characters when they finally bond as a family. And then the other part was the part where he gets to get revenge against the Indians that killed his family. Those are my two most emotional scenes for me, and those are the ones that stand out that I remember. And that because you're like, yes, you kill him. You just get into it because you want them to pay for what they've done. And
Janet,
even though I don't
you would
understand the
prove you're
roles and
so wrong.
traditions of them, you know what I mean? Because they have traditions.
Mhm.
All religions have their own way of doing things. And but to me, it was wrong that they went and they murdered his family. So I was happy to see them. I was happy to see him be able to get revenge against the people that did that to them.
Yeah, I
Those are
didn't
my two favorite
understand why
ones.
the crow started it. I don't understand why the crow started a fight they possibly couldn't finish. That's the
Hmm.
only real problem I have with this movie is
Hmm.
the crow performed very stupidly, and I hate using a Barack Obama-ism, but they performed very
Yeah.
stupidly in this movie. Um, This is a good movie. I thought I would recommend it as a great film.
Mhm.
This movie does have some pop culture reference here, and let me bring that to you because when this happened, I went apeshit when I saw it. I'm like, no way.
Well, can I comment on one thing what you said about why you didn't understand why they did it?
Mhm.
As you watch the news today, you see I see lots of things they're talking about Muslim people, killing their daughter or stoning someone or beating them with the sticks in the street because of a choice they made. They took off their habit or their hijab, I mean, or they were caught with their masks off their face, things like that. And in our country, it should be against the law to beat someone in the street, right? So, but I'm seeing more and more cities in these, like in Minnesota and places like that are starting to
Blue cities.
accept
You can say blue cities. We know
these
what you're
different
saying.
laws. Do what?
You can say blue cities. We know what you're saying.
Okay, well, okay, but
Democrat run
you
shitholes.
go ahead now. That was all I was going to say. So you're talking about this GIF?
This right here. When I see this, I didn't know this was from this movie. When this
Oh, I knew.
happened in the movie, I about shit my pants. I'm like, oh my god,
I know.
that's
I
Robert
remember.
Redford.
I remember you doing that. I was like, yeah, he's a happy guy. He's got a good woman and he's got plenty of food to eat. He's got a wonderful family. That's what it means. He's proud of where he's at in his life. That's what I
Okay.
use it for.
So
That
Janet
meme.
says probably an 8.5 for this movie.
Mhm.
We're over here
Mhm.
on our chat on Rumble. Rumble, typically, I love Rumble. It's a good backup. I want to make it the main. We've got Pappy J over there saying 9 out of 10 for the story. The film falters a little bit, 8 out of 10.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
I agree
that's
with
pretty high
them.
praise. There's a lot of good in this story. The book that this is based on, The Liver Eater, I want to read this book because it sounds pretty cool. And I read a lot of Smoke Jensen Smoke Jensen books when I was a trucker. I got a
Mhm.
chance to listen to them because sometimes they were at the Pilot, so you pick those up. Pilot had a really good program. You just pick up an audio book and then you slap it in the CD player, and it was badass. You got to listen to a movie
Mhm.
while you go down the road. It was awesome. This is a movie I want to read. This is really a movie I
Mhm.
want to read.
You read the
Our
book?
friend, yeah, I want to read this book. Six Nation 31 King says 7.5 to 8. It's an all-around good film, very personalized. It was not as good as Lust in the Dust, but it's in my top 15 westerns.
Mhm.
Lust in the Dust might be a movie that you should not watch with
Now,
your
see,
kids.
I loved this movie. I thought it was great, and I'm glad that I got to watch it again because it made me think of my mom, which I miss dearly. But it's still, to me, it doesn't top the movie we already reviewed that I think is the best Western I've ever seen, Tombstone.
You think
So
Tombstone is it, don't you?
I loved
You
that
think
movie. I loved
Tombstone is
everything
it?
about it. I think it's
Okay.
great. Yeah, remember I gave it just under 9.5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
So it was great. I still love it. I still love it. It's one of my top movies. But The Great Raid is my very favorite movie. Besides, but
Okay.
my comedy is Victor Victoria. So
Okay.
I can help it. That's just how I am.
Gosh, I wish we had not the chat. Please don't rake me over the coals for this. Me and Janet shot our wad the first year we were doing this. We put all of our favorite films up front,
Hmm.
and like The Thing is there. We did a review on Big Trouble in Little China.
Hmm.
Got Tombstone, Big Victoria, all those films within the first like 20 weeks because we didn't know if we were going to continue doing this.
Yeah, we didn't
I
know if
mean,
it
it's
was if
free.
it would even. people even want to watch us. So why not enjoy
If you want
ourselves,
to watch
right?
us, we're just two fools. Yeah, but
Hmm.
this is a lot of fun, and I'm loving it. This is a absolute fun way for me to spend on Monday nights. I love you guys. I love the chats on Sundays. I like interacting with you guys. You're becoming more than acquaintances. You're getting in that friendship territory. It's just a fun way. This is a good community. I really
Hmm.
appreciate you. Um,
Yeah, I loved it. I love it. I look forward
I,
to
I
doing this every week, and I'm crushed that I'm not going to get back in time for us to do it while I'm gone. So, um,
well, hold on,
well,
hold on. We have a paint and chill next week, so we'll wait for you.
so,
We'll wait for you.
okay.
Uh, Kurt Russell is a smexy man, no homo. I can agree with
Hmm.
that. No homo to Kurt Russell. Although I'm worried that he's my parents' age, so he's 72 now.
Hmm.
Anyone
Yeah, I
see
was
Yellow
so
Truck Closing?
surprised when I found out Pee Wee Herman was 70. I was like,
Yeah,
what? Really?
he's age. How did he get
It
old?
just doesn't, yeah, it just doesn't seem right. I didn't even realize he was that old. I mean, he just didn't seem old.
I was watching the 1981 HBO special of Paul Rubens today. I put that
Hmm.
in my Discord, your Discord, and I hope people enjoy it. It's something I watched when I was like 8 years old. Had no idea,
Hmm.
no idea, but I really do love it now. I'm gonna miss you, Paul. Tombstone is 10 out of 10 for Flady. Flady also said this movie is a 3.5 out of 5 stars for Jeremiah
Hmm.
Johnson.
Yeah, that's
Can't
good.
argue with that.
Mm-mm.
Bridges of Toika Ri. Ooh. Ooh.
But I want to also tell everybody, if you have not seen the movie The Great Raid, it's about the only time we have ever made a special attempt to rescue our soldiers
Prisoners of
during
War.
war. During war, yeah.
Mhm.
So it's just so good, and I can help it. I'm a military brat. I probably would have joined the military if my dad hadn't, he told all of us girls that the military is not a place for a woman. I guess because of the type of job that he did, he just didn't think it was a good place for a woman because he saw the horrible things that when men would come back after they've been captured and things like that. So we just never did it. But he was adamant about us knowing how to change tire on the car, how to use a gun, how to defend ourselves. He made us take judo classes and things like that. So I think he did the best he could to make us be able to to fend for ourselves in a world that he saw differently than we saw it because we always were sheltered. Even when we lived in other countries, we lived on a base, so we didn't have the same things, around us that a lot of other people had to suffer through. So I'm grateful for that. But I'm grateful that my dad tried to give us, common sense. That's what I see. We have a huge group of people today that have no common sense. I mean, they just don't. I don't see how they could possibly have common sense and make some of the choices they make. It's just shocking. I mean, I just can't understand it. It's like I'm waking up and I'm like, when am I going to wake up from this nightmare that I'm not waking up? So I don't know, but that's the way it is.
Have you ever considered Janet? Have you ever considered Kurt Russell a DILF?
What's that? It's a BILF.
Uh, a DILF is a dad I'd like to fuck.
I
I
think he's
guess
very attractive.
I
I loved him in
I've
that
never.
movie that we watched with you. But I thought he was so sexy when I saw the thing. I thought he was rare. Yeah, I would have dug in. So yeah, I would have.
See, I always hear from women The Thing or Big Trouble in Little China. The scene in Big Trouble in Little China when he's in the wheelchair about to tumble down in the well. I've seen women have a crisis of marriage at that moment.
Well, the thing is,
Anyway.
the way he dressed and the scruffiness of him when he was in the thing, to me, I think is way more sexy. For some reason, I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but just to see, like what was that? There's just bunches of movies, like a little bit of not shaven, kind of
A
dirty.
little bit of Hot
You know,
Shadow, 3-Day Shadow. Yeah.
yeah, somebody that doesn't have to look like he spends every minute looking at himself in the mirror. That kind of.
Yeah,
I went on
that
a date with a
self-assured.
guy one time. This guy drove 2 hours to come get me because we lived out in the middle of nowhere, right? And he takes me on a date, and the whole time he's looking, I could see him adjusting the mirror and he's looking at himself in it. I was like watching him, and then he's looking at his hands. He was looking at his hands. He was like, "That's a nice looking hand, don't you think?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He was a quarterback on a football team, and I never went out with him again. I was like, this guy is not. I was not interested. I don't like self-absorbed people. I try not to be. I like somebody who would take their shirt off and help someone else, or I don't know. That was not attractive to me. My sister now, Sandy, would have been drooling over him. If he's built like I don't remember what she called it. They have real broad shoulders and really narrow hips or whatever. That type of a guy, and that he looks like a Stretch Armstrong. You know what a Stretch Armstrong looked like, right? That's the kind of guy Sandy would date. That's all she wanted. She wanted Arnold Schwarzenegger's, and I just don't think that's attractive to me. I don't think a guy that looks like his veins are about to explode when you walk by, on his arms and shit. That's just disgusting to me. I just don't, I don't even want to look like that. I want to be toned. I want to have my skin be toned and stuff like that. And because I'm working out, but I don't want to be all muscle bound. I don't know how men think women like that are attractive, but to each his own. I don't think a man has to have rippling muscles and stuff. I don't think it's very attractive.
I'll shut up here. I'll shut up because there's a part of me that wants to see Janet doll herself up like one of those ladies on The Price is Right. You know which one, guys? The athletic one that was always like super fit, had nice arms, great legs, amazing. Anyway, sorry. Let me clean myself up. Sorry. All right. So Chuck Norris rescued lots of guys in Vietnam, and so did Gene Hackman. And by the way, next July, we're going to be watching a movie called Uncommon Valor. Hopefully, Mr. Gene Hackman will be with us. Uncommon Valor. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, I remember seeing
it. Okay. I've never seen it. It's got Reb Brown, so I'm very much into Reb Brown movies.
Remember, I told you really Gene Hackman was one of my favorite actors. I loved him as Lex Luthor.
He played.
I thought that was a great movie. I loved him in The Birdcage. I thought he was excellent in The Birdcage. I mean, I've seen quite a few different movies that he was in. I think The Package, wasn't he in The Package?
I believe so.
And that was a really good movie. So my mom loved Gene Hackman too. So, it's fun to go to the movies with someone, even if it's your mom. So it's just fun.
All right.
I love movies.
We have a fight in the chat. Snake Plissken is the best Kurt ever. The first one, at least.
Hey, I love both those movies, Escape from New York and Escape from LA. They were both excellent movies too.
I'll watch Escape from LA, but I love Escape from New York. Even though Escape from New York, the biggest crime is that there's no fight. Everybody in the chat, our chat exploded. Okay, so we have the last person that rated it. Six Nation 31 King said 7.5 or 8. All around good film, very personalized. 8.5 from Convicted JFG or a JHG 76. My bad, sir. I'm sorry. I'm going to say this movie is 80% out of 100, so that's 4 out of 5 stars for some of you, and Brothers, that's an 8 out
What
of
I want
10.
to ask you though,
I think
Bruce, is what part of the movie was your favorite part? Was it the part where he was able to get revenge for his family, or what was it? What part
no,
was
it was
interesting?
not that at all. That movie, that part of the movie, in my head, after I watched the fight scenes, I kind of saw how things were going. No offense to the fight scenes, but they could have been a little better. I'm gonna that
Hmm.
it's 4 out of 5 stars. The action could be a little bit better edited. They could have had uh, Robert Redford go and train in some boxing, or maybe set up like a Balboa style gymnasium at a
Hmm.
cabin somewhere and learn how to throw punches. I didn't see
Hmm.
that. I didn't see that part of the movie where he was fighting. I saw bad edits. The fights were bad, but
Yeah,
aside from
especially the
that,
wolf
the
scene. That that
yeah, the
that
wolf
wolf
that was
scene.
horrible.
Now, when I first saw it when I was a kid, it was scary as shit. I mean, it was so scary. I
Oh, I
could think
imagine.
of getting attacked by wolves and torn to shreds as a kid,
Yeah,
especially when you grow up and you're around the woods. Because I remember for 2 times we were stationed in Spokane, and there was lots of
my
woods. But
my favorite part of the
that
movie.
scene wasn't very good.
I love the part. I love the part where he won, where him and the Crow Chieftain are looking at each other across the valley, and the
Mhm.
Chieftain pretty much gives him the note like, "Hey, we're not going to fuck with you anymore. We've lost too
Yeah,
many
he puts
men.
his hand up.
Yeah, we're done. Peace, truce. Not going
Mhm.
to come after you anymore. We're done. We're done here." And he gets it. That was kind of cool. I actually, my favorite part of the movie is the two characters in the movie that aren't really in it much. You have Del Gru,
Mhm.
the bald guy at the start that he
Yeah.
rescues from the sand pit. I love
Mhm.
that guy. I thought he was just fun, and he reminded me of some cagey MF that you would find in the woods. That he would probably fuck you over, but he would still make sure you didn't die. He would
Mhm.
try to teach you a lesson, but like, hey, thanks. Those bear traps you had were awesome, and we're going to use those for the next few years. But here's some fish I caught, and here's how you can make your own trout line. And that's what he would
Yeah.
do. I
Mhm.
think if the movie would have just been him and Dell going around after they'd met Grandpa Walton,
Yeah.
the Grandpa Walton stuff was great.
That is
Like
that who
I'm
that
not
actor
used to that guy
was?
in that role. Yes.
Was that who that
Yes,
guy
he was.
was? The Grizz guy?
Yes, Grandpa
Oh, because
Walton. Not Dell,
didn't
but the man who
I
taught him
now
the
it
Bear Claw.
clicks. It makes
Bear
sense
Claw.
now. I recognize him, but he was funny as shit. The thought when you
Yeah, Bear
see
Claw was great.
Robert Redford looking out of the door, right? And he just had a big old hunk of meat and he was gnawing on it, because he was so hungry, right? And then he sees the guy
Mhm.
running with the bear because before he left, he said, "Are you sure you could skin a grizz?" And
Yeah,
then he
exactly.
runs and he lets that guy in there and he chases him through and he jumps out the window and you hear all the ruckling going on in there and then you hear the gun go off. So, and then you see him later and he's working on a piece of the bear skin,
On Piece of
softening it
Bear.
up,
Yeah.
and he's got blood, scrapes and stuff on his head, and it was just funny. That was a funny scene. So see, it even had comedy in it. It had romance and comedy, and it had tension, and it had revenge, and it had, it just had all these arcs and stuff in it, and it flowed. I thought it flowed really well. It was a very good story, and I love the parts where the gentleman sang. And it was like an old folktale song. Remember when we were watching Rob Roy and the young woman was singing out by the fire? In
Hmm.
the Scottish song, whatever that was
Yes.
going on. It was so moving. I got goosebumps listening to it. It was so good. And I kind of felt the same way, but it was more of a trying to find a word for it. When he was singing, it reminded me of when I was a little girl sitting on my grandpa's knee, and he'd be listening to the old trail songs on his record player, and he would be bouncing me on his knee and Sandy because both of us would be there, and he would be talking to us and tell us about different things that he did during the day. Remember I told you he would grab us and hold us down, and he'd take our big toe and he'd take his Prince Albert can and beat on our big toe and stuff like that. And then we'd tie our hands and our feet together and hang us over the doorknob. That's what he did to Sandy and I. It was fun. And then he would, we cried a lot and stuff, but we loved going to see him. And he's the first person I ever got to ride a horse with. He taught me how to ride a horse, but he shoot horses for a living. That's what he did when he got out of the Army. And I just loved going there. And he had an outhouse for a very long time. I was almost in junior high by the time they finally got a bathroom added to the back of their house. Stuff like that. And we would, what we would earn money is that with Kathy and Dana and Sandy and I, because Jennifer was a few years younger than us, we would pick pears and different stuff out of the garden. And he had built us a little thing, a stand. It was sitting by the road, and we'd go down and we'd be able to sell fruits and vegetables, and we get to keep the money. Because if we picked it, he would let us keep the money. And then at the end of the week, if we had enough money, he would take us in his horse and buggy, because he had his team tied up, the ones that, plowed his field and stuff. And he would take the team and pull the wagon, and we would go to town and buy ice cream. It was the coolest thing. I mean, how many kids get to have that kind of life? I mean, it was awesome. I loved my childhood. I had a wonderful grandparents and wonderful parents. And I still have wonderful sisters. So
my dad had a interesting childhood, but when he became an adult, I was given to my parents by God. Basically, my dad celebrated because all the things that my dad wanted to do, now he has carte blanche to do it. He has the license to do it. Like, he had American Flyer trains when he was a kid, and he wanted a train set. Well, here's a boy. So my dad builds a HO scale train set. And that was like my first my first foray into make-believe, was playing with that train set all the time. And my dad, that was like his toy. We loved it. It was awesome. But my dad, we didn't really do a lot of quote unquote outdoor things. We would go camping once every 2 months just because let's go camping. But yeah, that was like something we did frequently. And then like once a quarter or once every 4 months, the rest of the family would come with us. We'd go either Shelbyville or somewhere like that. But I wasn't that quote unquote outdoorsy. We had a neighbor with a horse, but we didn't have horses. We lived on a quiet, modest lot, and we did not have a horse, which I was happy about, because I know taking care of dogs, that horses, there's a lot more to take care of. I don't want to do that. I think this movie, just to wrap up the movie discussion here real quick, I think this movie only suffers in the fact of the action. I think it's a great film. I think the characters in it, as sparse as the characters are, I think they're each very well detailed. There's a lot to enjoy with these various people running around in this movie. And if you like good cinema, this is definitely should be on your list. It's a high quality GIF that's shared everywhere from any social media. So like everybody likes sharing Jeremiah Johnson and that glorious beard of his. He's got an amazing beard in this movie. 10 out of 10.
And you got to remember, Robert Redford did his own stunts. So when he's jumping around in the water or the freezing cold, and then he's trying to make a fire under a tree. Remember that? When he's trying to make that fire, and he finally gets it started, and the wind blows, and a big plop of snow lands on him. Just all that stuff. It was really, really good. It was just a very good story, and it was told well. It did very well. Now, a couple of the fight scenes were kind of hokey, but you got to remember, they didn't have CGI. They had none of that. This was all hands-on, play by play, blow by blow, or whatever you want to call it.
I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings here. Chuck Norris is a great martial artist. Okay, he's one of the best martial artists ever out of America. But if you've ever watched the movie Breaker Breaker out of 1977, that is a terrible film, and the fight choreography sucks. I'm sorry. That movie, I had a hard time watching it. I thank God I watched it
I
with
haven't seen
riff
it.
tracks on. Oh, I'll do it. I'll show you that one of these days. But
Well, in the chat,
I
someone
love.
said somebody's saying something about Burt Reynolds and Tom Selleck movies.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
Quigley
Fleetney
Down
wants
Under
us
is
to
one of the
please.
ones I would pick.
Well,
So.
that's one of Six Nations picks as well. We'll probably get that in here probably spring of next year because I want to have
and the Gator. I don't
movie.
know if I've seen Gator. You guys,
It's
the only
classic.
movie I remember, there's only a couple movies I remember with Burt Reynolds, and that was like ones that my mom would watch, like Best Little Whorehouse in Texas with Dolly Parton, and the one where him and his friends get stranded out in the backwoods or something, and the little bitty guy squeals like a pig because they were out there or something. I was really young when I watched it. Deliverance.
Are you talking about? Okay.
Yeah, Deliverance was the name of the movie. Took me a minute to remember.
We'll do that next year when we want to traumatize kids.
Well, what I mean is I'm
serious.
trying to remember Burt Reynolds movies because I just didn't really see a lot of them. The one they were Convoy, I saw that, and another one with Sally Field, but I don't remember.
Burt Reynolds. That's not Burt Reynolds. Convoy is Chris Christopherson.
Who was it? Oh, okay. Maybe it wasn't that one. It was another one. He's driving a black Trans Am, and the other guy was a trucker. Oh, okay, that one. That was the one I meant to say. Sorry, because his friend was the one driving the truck, right? The semi.
Yes.
And Smokey was the one. Yeah, the bear was the one trying to, or the red, the Trans Am was trying to keep the cops from following the truck.
Yep, and I believe Bandit was Burt Reynolds. Jackie Gleason was Smokey.
Yeah, and he had a stupid son.
And Sally Field's in that too.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. It was a Sally Field movie, and I couldn't remember. I called it Convoy. I couldn't remember what it was called, but that movie. So that was pretty good. That I remember. I've only seen it one time, so
we will have to watch Lone Wolf McQuade at some point because that's a David Carradine, Chuck Norris film. Got to watch it.
Yep. So I said we're never going to run out of movies. We'll be in a nursing home.
That's
watch
fine.
a movie.
That's fine.
Because there's so many of them. I mean, every time we watch one of these movies, I find out about, when we're researching the characters and the other movies that the stars were in. I'm like, wow, that's a bunch of movies I want to watch. So, it's good though. That means that there was movies. What do you mean?
I got the schedule on my StreamYard, and my friends are like, "Hold on, I want to give you money and get more on there." I'm like, "Oh my god, I will never pick a movie. It'll be 2026 before I pick a movie again." And
well, if we just let them pick them all, we can do that too. I mean, that's no big deal. I mean,
okay,
what was it? I've watched 5 or 6 movies that gamers. Darkness Rising, I thought was awesome. I really loved it. It was fun, and I love dressing up for them too, especially when I'm something I don't know anything about. So,
Bellow Triggerfish, be well. Thank you for being in our chat tonight. We're getting ready to wrap this up.
Thank you very much.
What are you? Oh, not a problem. Do you want to talk about anything going on your channel here?
Well, I won't be doing a Friday night shit show this week because I won't be here, so I won't be able to do that, and I won't be back until after next Monday night. Hopefully, I'll be back to be able to do the shit show, but I don't know if I will or not. So depending on what happens while I'm gone.
Fair enough. So. I just want you to be safe. Okay, that's all.
I will. I drive like a little old lady. I've never gotten a ticket because I don't believe in speeding, and I try never to speed because I don't know what if I could live with myself if I hurt someone else in a car. That would be I don't know if I could deal with it. So I don't drink and drive. I don't do any of those things. Yeah, I'm an old fuddy duddy.
And I'm not trying to shoot our stream in the foot, Flady. He says, get all that toxic masculinity in here. Well, on Tuesdays we have a party over at 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser's. We do a toxic Tuesday masculinity stream.
Yeah, which I'm going to get to start watching again, since right now the United Resistance isn't really doing very much. It's in a transition or whatever. So that'd be good. I'll start having to go over there and watch it again, because I used to love watching all the toxic stuff over there.
We'd love to have you.
Do that.
Cherokee Jack, Sinbad does a Western. I dare you to watch. Oh my God. Cherokee Jack. Oh, dude. Oh, I wait, is that Sinbad the comedian?
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, he does look like Roadhead, a roadie for Motorhead. Okay, Cherokee Jack. Hold on.
Well, I'm thankful that so many people thought this was a good movie, because it really, really, really was a good movie, I think. Very well made. It's pure entertainment to me. That's how this movie's rated. And I try to look at them that way. Is it entertaining when you leave? Was it good? Do you remember it? And would you recommend it to someone else? And if you would, then it was a good movie. Just like John Wick's movies. It was all kick butt. And that other movie, Nobody, was a good movie too.
That's a great film.
It is. It was really, really good. But see, when you leave a movie theater and you thought it was good enough to say, hey, you need to see this movie, it's really good, that means it was a good movie. It was entertainment. No, I've never seen this. I've never seen Sinbad, the Cherokee Kid. Is it a comedy?
I don't know. I think I'm going to have to put it down, because
wasn't Sinbad a comedian?
He is.
Okay, well then it's got to be a comedy then. James Cogburn, I know you like him.
And Gregory Hines. Oh my God.
Yeah, look at all this movie. There's a lot of stars in it.
Ernie Hudson. Hopefully he doesn't play a cop like he did in Cowboy Way. Hal Williams, another great actor.
You're definitely gonna let me live that down, are you?
No,
you're gonna keep rubbing that one in.
Never. That's my grudge chip right there.
Do you think the Cowboy Way is better, or do you think the Cowgirl movie was better? Between those two,
man, that's like what tastes better? This like 40-day-old piece of bologna, or
I would have to say Bad Girls. I think Bad Girls was better than the Cowboy Way.
Yeah, Bad Girls is much better than the Cowboy Way, but man, that's like comparing a Madonna movie to like the enjoyability of a Madonna film to listening to Britney Spears sing Christmas songs by Mariah Carey. That's like a bad. Like, is there a cyanide tablet I could have instead?
I still love both of them though. I'm glad I watched them. Now, I was really depressed though after I watched The Cowboy Way. Watching it when you're a young girl and then watching it as a grown up, it was two different movies. But I still like Bad Girls. I still like this just as much as I did the first time I watched it.
Okay.
And it's going up in views.
James Coburn was the pallbearer for Bruce Lee.
For who?
For Bruce Lee.
Oh, Bruce Lee.
James
Yeah.
Coburn, Steve McQueen. Yeah, those two guys were pallbearers for Bruce Lee back in '75.
Oh,
So
it's good though.
anyway, everybody, God, Bad Girls versus. I don't know. I don't know how this is a good choice. Like cyanide.
Well, you know, like
have
either
cyanide
movie, it's easy to pick between two bad movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
We have not done Blazing Saddles, says Grumpy Old Ninja.
we haven't
You're
done
right.
that one yet. We need to try to start picking at least one comedy a month. What do you think?
Ooh, 1 out of every 4. We have 13 comedies a year.
I think we should try to.
I think that's very possible. I think it's very possible.
I mean, why not? I mean, I never really watched very many comedies, so you know, I might see a lot more movies that I haven't seen before.
Comedies are hard to do because they have to be funny, and a lot of comedies aren't. They're
well, all those movies where I don't know what the guy's name is, the actor that he was in the Elf movie. He was a giant elf guy. That actor.
That guy.
I can't remember his name.
I don't remember his name because I
don't think he's funny. So every movie I've gone to see with him, I'm like, it's okay. You know, it just wasn't very funny.
Elf was probably the highlight of his
well,
movie,
like Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, the first one where Jim Carrey was able to ad-lib and stuff, I laughed my butt off. But the second one, it was like, it wasn't even near as good as the first one.
No. And I'm one of those guys, I'm one of those uptight people that I did not like Me, Myself, and Irene too much. And I really did not like the Dumb and Dumber movies.
Dumb and Dumber? I didn't really get into Dumb and Dumber either. They were really stupid. I
felt bad for them.
Yeah.
They were. Caddyshack, yes.
Yeah,
Blues
that
Brothers,
was good.
Yes. Yeah.
I laughed, but I danced more for Blues Brothers. Loved Blues Brothers.
You know, the other one we haven't done is Airplane.
Yeah, I haven't done that one. Now that was funny.
Yeah.
Naked Gun stuff too. Yeah, Will Ferrell. That's the guy.
We struggle with names sometimes because we don't want to say it aloud. I don't think he's that funny. 90% of sequels should never have been made. I agree with that. I can say
most
that.
of those
I believe
are all
90%
made because they just want to make extra money. That's it.
Peter Sellers is in the party. Well, everybody, next week, swing by. We will have a big paint and chill. I'll probably throw the StreamYard link out there so people can just jump in because that's something I do. When Janet's not here, I try to have I'm not trying to say have a party without Janet, but keep me occupied while I paint. That's what I want.
Well, isn't that what you did before you and I even started doing this?
Yeah,
you just do the paint and chill. Yeah.
But
so
I really,
that's good.
When I started talking to you about movies, and we discussed what you've done and where you've been, that I'm not considering myself to be a megalomaniac, but I consider myself to be somebody who I can recognize talent. I like to think that, and I recognize a lot of that with you. And we're so blessed to have you right now while you're small on social media, because at some point you're going to explode. You're going to get.
I'm not going anywhere. I promise. I'm not. I don't care what happens. I'm going to do this. I enjoy this. I'm so thankful that you asked me to do this, and I was like, wow, let's just do this. Let's try this and try that. And it's been so much fun. It's, you know what I mean? It's just been, I just love it. I look forward to what costume I'm going to wear, you know, all that. It's fun to me.
Grumpy, I posted the Rumble link in your Discord as well. Let me pull it up real quick for you. For those of you that do want to hang out next week, come on by. Janet will be gone.
What is the movie
and
next week? Not next week, but the week I come back. What are we going to watch in 2 weeks?
I believe it's something you like. Hold on.
I can't remember. I saw
2
you pull
weeks from
your.
now.
I saw you pull the deal up, but I can't remember what the movie was.
Bugsy Malone. We're watching Bugsy
I don't think I've seen it
Malone.
before.
Never have.
And who
either.
stars in it?
Don't know.
Who stars
Let me pull that up.
Okay,
Hold on.
so I can think about it.
This.
Is it from the 50s or 60s?
70s.
From the 70s, just like the one we watched today. Then it was in the same
Yeah.
time.
Scott Baio and Jodie Foster.
Oh, I was thinking it was like back in our, parents' young age. You know what I mean? No, I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this movie.
Neither have I. I'm going to pull up the trailer right now, and
Okay.
then we'll share it.
Oh, we're allowed to play trailers?
Yeah, we're. You are allowed to give commentary with trailers.
Okay.
So with trailers, you want to do commentary. You want to stop them, start them. You don't want to play them straight through. You want to add content, not rehash and just say, "Oh, this is good" at the very end. You want to actually do something with it.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is Any New York Alley.
I was going to say, it looked like the back of a chicken plant.
Brains. Roxy Robinson wouldn't even get wet.
Okay, already it looks like a set, but we're going to forgive that
Yeah.
because Victor
I
Victoria.
was going to say, it looks like a set from Batman.
It does. They got a really good Gotham going on here.
Mm-hmm. Goth.
Roxy had spent his whole life making 2 and 2 into 5. He could smell trouble like other people could smell gas.
You could smell
I can't.
trouble
I
like
can't.
other people could smell gas.
Okay. Who could? This guy that just ran in there to hide?
Yeah, Roxy is his name.
Okay.
Believe you me, you should have never taken that blind alley by the side of Burritos Bakery.
It doesn't look like a good situation for a kid.
Your name Robinson?
They're all kids.
They're all children.
They shot dough out of it. Pizza dough.
Roxy the Weasel had been spread.
That's great.
So it's a kids movie?
It looks like it's a kids movie.
Mhm.
Good Times Enterprises production of Alan Parker's film. Okay, he can sing. I like the
never
song.
seen it.
I've heard of it, never watched it.
I was thinking just from the name Bugsy Malone, it was like a black and white 50s movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Interesting. I don't see the person that I don't see Jodie Foster. I don't see Scott Baio.
Now, my friends, I should be filming using.
Hold on. I got to go back to the IMDb page.
Maybe this isn't the
Okay.
right one. Maybe that was a
Okay.
different Bugsy Malone.
Hold on, Bugsy Malone. Okay. With an all-child cast. Hold on. Give me this photo, computer. I installed a VPN. So
Mhm.
there's Jodie Foster. More Jodie Foster.
Mhm.
No advertisement, please. Okay, that's Scott Bio right there. So it's
So, but where's the
entire.
trailer for this one?
This is it.
This guy he was looking at is the hero of our story. Name of Bugsy Malone.
But we saw Bugsy Malone. It wasn't the same actor. See?
No, it wasn't.
James Radford. So this is a different one.
No, it can't be because it's still 1976. This is 1976.
There's no trailer on that page. On this one.
On this page here,
Yeah.
I hate trailers on IMDb because they never
I know,
come
but
out
just
right.
try it and see what happens. Because we want to see if it's
Okay.
the same. It's the same one.
Robinson?
Is that the same trailer? Because normally you would have the stars' names on the top. And if he was Bugsy Malone, that other kid isn't Bugsy Malone. Didn't make any sense. What happened? Bruce, are you still there? Is it me? Did I get disconnected? Does anybody else see Bruce, or is it just me? I don't know what's going on. A test? Is this a test? I don't know what's happening. Oh, they took Bruce. So okay, so it's not my side. Okay, because I was thinking it's something with my computer messed up. Okay, I'm still here. Thank goodness. I'm gonna get me a sip real quick. Okay, we're trying to figure out the Bugsy Malone trailer. We're trying to find that. Oh, Bruce just appeared in the back chat. There he is. Are you all right?
They made me disappear. They're fine. I apparently watching that. I have apparently somebody by bringing up Bugsy Malone. We're going to discuss this movie at a later point. Yeah, YouTube probably fucked that up, but we'll watch this movie Bugsy Malone in 2 weeks.
Okay.
On Sunday night. Link will be in for Discord. Let me get you that real quick. It looks like an interesting movie, but
yeah, I've never seen
might
it.
have.
I've never even heard of this movie.
Neither have I.
So, who recommended
it? Six Nations, 31 Kings.
Okay, so, all right. Well, I'm gangbusters to watch it. I think Jodie Foster's a really good actress. So, I'm excited to see it. But
okay. I just saw a possible headline where Celine Dion was dead. And I'm like, that can't be going on today, right? No. But she's apparently MSN.
Mm-hmm.
The death of Celine Dion has been trending on social media as a month came up. She might be have a death hoax. For those following Celine Dion's health, She's been having a lot of problems since December, probably because of the shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm
Wow.
pretty sure.
But
We're going to see a lot to
she
that.
might be,
Really sad.
yeah, sucks. But I mean, this is what happens when you deal with the devil, and that's what they did. They allowed these people to sell you an untested vaccine, and this is what you get. Congratulations.
Yeah, Awesome One says he's never seen Jeremiah Johnson, never even heard of it. So,
Well, you have
if you
seen
want
part
to
of it
go watch
before.
the trailer for it and try and see if you'd be interested in watching it, I think it's a very good movie. I gave it, what did I give it? 8.5 stars
8.5 stars.
out
I
of
gave it
10.
an 80% out of 100.
Mm-hmm. But it's I think it still stands up pretty well even today, considering it doesn't have any CGI in it and that the actors did their own stunts. So I thought it was really good. Very good character arcs for everyone. It has a little of everything, a little bit of comedy, a lot of action, romance, vendetta, all that in it. So
This moment right here is in the movie. That's Robert Redford. This is in the movie.
huge
So I finally,
meme. Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
I'm so happy that you got to see that, Bruce. Makes me happy to see you excited about something like that. When you said it during us watching the movie, I go, yeah, now you know what that means. I think it's great.
I loved it. I had a lot of fun with this. This was a lot of
Thank
fun.
you. I enjoyed it.
Thank you for recommending this movie to me, Janet.
You're welcome. It's a good movie.
Yeah, climate.
Did you get to tell your parents you were watching it?
Yeah, I
had your parents seen it before?
Lots of times.
Yeah. Good. It's a good movie. That's why they have good taste.
Yeah, like 1 in 10 for some of the batches of the vaccine were sent out. That was bad. So I mean, just if you can avoid it, avoid it. It's probably gonna be better for you to not have it. Everybody, I appreciate you all being here. This has been a rough day for me. Losing Paul Reubens is part of my childhood, and I wasn't a big Pee Wee Herman guy, but I loved all the roles he did. I liked everything he did. Outside of that, Pee Wee's Playhouse got played out for me as a kid, but later in life, I watched it, and I really appreciate it. I really get a kick out of Captain Carl, and Lawrence Fishburne made his debut in that. That was not. I don't think it was his quote unquote his debut, but that was his first big role before he hit the movie King of New York. Which no, not King of New York. He was in Band of the Hand, which me and Janet will watch because it's a Michael Mann movie. I know Janet's like, what? No. Oh shit. But it's a good movie. It's fun, and some of you guys are like, oh my god, Band of the Hand, I love that film. It's got its fans. I'm one. Do you want to say anything before you go on?
I just want to say thank you to everyone that came to watch us talk about this movie, and hopefully the next time we're going to do Bugsy Malone in your Discord, that we can get more people to come and join us while we watch the movie the night before we do the review. It's a lot of fun, and it's like a private viewing of a movie. If you've never seen it, it's really fun and it's entertaining. And then we sometimes talk a little bit afterward about it, and then we'll come here the next night and review it. So I'm excited. It's gonna be fun. Hopefully we get bigger and bigger. More and more people wanting to join us.
Actually, I think at about double, around 40 people is like the happy spot for most viewers, because that's where you can keep up with chat and you can interact with them. After you hit like 100 people in a chat, like you're just watching shit just fly by, and you're like,
that's why we'll have to hire some people to ask some people, hey, do you want to take care of our chat for us? So
you want to be a mod?
Yeah, you want to be a mod for us? Yeah.
Eric K got a new job for you.
Yeah, I was so happy he stopped by because I've sent him. I send him invites all the time, saying if you get a little bit of time before you're so busy on the other big channels, it'd be nice if you just stop by and say hello. So it was sweet that he did. I really appreciate it because I know he's been having really bad problems with his back and all the mess ups they've had in the hospital and stuff. And I pray for him all the time that he'll get they'll finally get him taken care of and get him back on his feet.
I used to talk to him a lot when I was in Doom Cox chats all the time, and he's just a very, very level-headed guy. He goes around. He's got a circuit he does, and I wish him all the best because he's a really good guy. I don't know what else he does, but I know that for
he goes to
being a
Klobby's
mod,
space on Saturday nights, and that's where I spent most of the time talking to him and stuff. And then on the Friday Night Tights. And before that, it was remember it was the Inquisition. Oh, I missed that.
Yep.
That was one of my very favorite shows on YouTube. Oh, I just loved it.
I tried
So
watching. I love Nerdrotic, I really do, but I don't like his paranormal stuff he's got right now. He does have one good guest or one good co-host in Garrett Quarter Black. I like Garrett. I think he's very good. He does a nightly show called The Normal World with Dave Landau, which is my crack cocaine, and I listen to that at work. That's my daily drive the next day. But
Quarter Black is so funny. He's such a great kid. I mean, he's a great guy. He's just a sweetheart. And I used to love him when he was on that morning show with, I can't remember the guy's name, the coffee mug show, whatever. I can't remember his name is right this minute. But I used to love him when he was on that with his commentary and the little things that he'd be sent off to do. That's what I like to watch because he is so funny. And I hope his channel gets really big. I really do because he's really good.
Well, appreciate everybody here tonight being part of this chat. And if you weren't here, I mean, me and Janet would still be talking because that's just what we do.
I love
it's a lot more fun to have you here with us. Janet, I love her to pieces. She's a you pull the conversation cord like a child's toy, and you just let her down, and she's just amazing.
I know, and I'm really bad about interrupting and stuff like that. I really don't mean it. It doesn't mean it's not mean for me. If you could ever hang out with me and a couple of my sisters, you would understand that we all do it. It's like we were raised that way because if you didn't speak up, you'd never get a word in. So we talk over each other, but we still understand what everybody's saying. It's so funny. But, oh, well, I'm sorry. I don't do it because I'm mean. I just get excited and I'm afraid if I don't say it, I'm going to forget it.
I appreciate everybody being here. If you were all in the room, I'd be giving you firm handshakes or beer if you want beer. But thank you all for showing up tonight. Mr. JFG, please, sir, you don't have to super chat or super sticker. You can, but you don't have to. I really appreciate it. It'll be going to a charity here. And if there's anything we can do for you guys, just go ahead, drop us a comment on the file whenever it drops onto YouTube for syndication.
Oh, and click the like button. I always forget to say that too.
Yeah,
that's always good.
It's free. I know that I'm asking you to do stuff. I don't want to ask you to do stuff. Shadow was here earlier tonight and he said he had to resub to me because YouTube had unsubbed him. So make sure if you have a favorite YouTuber, make sure you're still subscribed. So I hope all of you guys have a great evening. I look forward to talking to you throughout the week, and we will see you on Saturday. Sadly, without Miss Janet, she will be on her trip, but she'll come back with a suntan.
Yeah, hopefully.
Janet, you want to help us out?
Yep. Thank you, everyone, and bless you. And we couldn't be here. We wouldn't be doing this. It wouldn't be as much fun if all of you didn't join us. So we're so thankful for you.
Yeah.
Hope to see you later.
God bless you guys.
Bye-bye.